mean, I can remember still hunting with a trad bow with him in diapers on my back in a backpack, just so I could go and give her a break. He'd go with me and he'd carry on. And there's times I'm like, buddy, there's a deer. He'll whip around and start coughing, the deer runs off. Like,
you blew it.
It wasn't ideal, but like,
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Deer Grow.
Man, we've been using Deer Grow products for a long time. The Plot Start and Plot Boost, more recently Plot Till. Now we've got 3 new liquid fertilizers that have been put in the mix that will cover everything we could want for a food plot program.
It's huge, man. The more food plotting we do, it's like, man, the liquids just make sense. Like whether it's herbicides or the Plot Start and Plot Boost, and now the fertilizers getting mixed in. It's like, man, I can combine all of those in certain cases and do less passes for more results.
I mean, it's all about efficiency. I mean, like you said, less passes. If you're out there treating your beans with glyphosate in the summertime, you can mix in this fertilizer, do that all at once. You have the boost in there that helps the metabolism. It's all about efficiency when we're talking about food plots. And really the big difference on these liquid fertilizers is you're bypassing some of these soil limitations, pH limitations, the soil type. In a lot of cases, we talk about dry fertilizers only being available for 17% of what you put down in the first year. These liquid fertilizers straight into the plant are 90% available in the first year. Huge difference in what you're going to see in growth.
It's huge. And so right now you can use code HUNTR15 for 15% off any of the Deer Grow products on their website. And as always,
better food plots, bigger deer. And we're back.
Hey-o.
HUNTR Podcast, episode 257. As Nick,
nice cognitive recall there,
keeps us in line. Yeah,
see the gear slowly starting to come around.
People ask, they're like, "What do you think about first?" I'm like, "What episode number?
What episode and what day is it? Yeah. When is this going to air?
When is this going to air?"
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you guys for listening. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Those are the main places we drop these episodes. If you've written us on Instagram DM or the website, those are the 2 that we check most frequently. And I did diligently get back through some of those email inquiries this morning.
How about that?
Working on it. Some not so much. Some are still in there, but you're starred, and I'm working on it. We have some merch on the website and some new stuff coming, which will be really cool. And I will say this for the first time ever. You can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, on almost any of our partners' websites for discounts on a lot of their stuff.
We've tried to simplify that.
Yeah, it won't get you a discount on a bow, but that's about it. I mean, you can get some stuff from the Hoyt website, the custom gear stuff. So try that. When in doubt, just try the code HUNTR. Otherwise, you can reach out to us and we'll help you out with that. But other than that, here we go.
It's funny. We actually had that code used on an unannounced partner.
Oh, yeah. I think somebody they were freeballing. They were just trying.
I was impressed, honestly.
Not even mad.
Yeah, they're just like, well, let me just try this
code. Give us a shot
and
here.
It worked.
It worked. Good for you. Good for you guys.
Congrats.
Nice.
You know who you are. You know who you are.
Little pre-code usage.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, it is June 19th. It's crazy. Like, we're almost out of June. By the time you're listening to this, I think it's like the last part of June or first part of July.
Yeah. And what better way to round out June here other than we got Kevin Merrow and son Finn Merrow with us again. So Finn, you didn't sit with us last time, but you get the courage here to sit with us today.
You're at least at the table today.
You're at the table. Yeah. Very cool, man.
Yeah. It's a big step.
How old are you, Finn?
I'm 13.
Yeah, right on. And we were talking, it was last August that you guys were in here last?
Yeah, I think it was in August because it was before hunting season. I know that. I think it was in the 150s episodes, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
150s. Did we do that much since last August?
Well, we started dropping doubles right after that.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I think it was around there. I can't remember if we were back from the beach then. I think we were. Yeah, we were ramping up because it was right during the mobile roadshow. So it was right when Cody had the roadshow back in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'd have been around that time.
Because I would assume
July or August, one of the two.
We had either just come back or we were going to Iowa then.
Oh boy.
Yeah, for a scouting mission.
I'm not the guy for recall. I don't
yeah.
know. Well, it was right around when Cody was here, right?
Yeah, it was.
I thought that was
early. The same day because Cody.
Same
was
day.
Here. Yeah.
And maybe that was like July.
Yeah,
it might have been July.
It was July.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah, because then we went out and did the Iowa Roadshow, and that would have been August, toward the end of August. Because I remember they bumped it up for the mule deer trip that we didn't even get to go on.
Yep, that's when we put our cameras out and everything in Iowa.
Yeah.
Almost a year.
Yeah. Doesn't feel that long.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
I feel it. Sometimes when we're doing guests, I didn't feel this way with you guys, but it was like, it's like when you and your wife are trying to pick a movie. And you're like, didn't we just watch that? And you're like, no, it's been like 3 years. Like, or we were dating when we like last saw that. You know, we're like, now it's time to do it again. So.
We had that with somebody else. They were like, I think it was Lauer. He was like, yeah, it was like episode 70. I was like, what?
Yeah, it had been a long time.
It's like, holy cow,
especially for you guys because you're ripping through them first, so quickly, but you're doing a lot. Time just goes fast.
Yeah, it's funny how none of them are forgettable. Like we enjoy every single one of them, but it's like you do find yourself even just before here. We're like, which one did we do? Oh yeah, we had a 3-hour conversation with. It's just they happen and then you catalog them and then you move forward.
Yeah, back when I had the podcast, it was the same way. Like next thing you know, you're in the hundreds. And like, how did we get here? It hasn't been that long, but.
Yeah, did I see a little spark after the last one we did there? I saw you fired up and did a couple, didn't you?
No, I didn't. We were going to start something. I remember I sent you some branding stuff that Finn and I it's still on the burner. Kind of a different style of podcast that might be more relatable to everyone versus just a niche.
So is that something you and Finn were like looking at?
Yeah. Well, honestly, when I came and did the podcast, it like fueled that fire again. Oh yeah, you loved it. I loved it, and so I was like, well, it'd be fun to start a different type of podcast brand around hunting, fatherhood, parenting, and Christianity. So yeah, I was gonna fire that up. I got everything ready, built a website, all the branding.
You built a website after the podcast?
Yeah, just time's always the issue.
It's tough, man.
It's finding the time, and it was something for him. Like I think podcasting's good for kids. For public speaking and being in front of the mic and stuff like that. It's really good. Finn's doing a lot of fundraising for his hockey and stuff. So his communication with people are like blown away at how, for 13 years old, how mature he is. And
especially in today's society, because it's just like,
absolutely.
We didn't have phones and text messaging and email even. Like, did you wrote a letter or you talked to them? Like, that's just how it was.
Yeah, now you talk to kids, they won't even look at you, so.
They'll just send you a text.
It's pretty important, so.
Well, dude, public speaking is terrifying.
Yeah, for most people.
Even for me. I'm like, it's one of my biggest fears, for sure. I'm like, I feel like I feel like my, how you get trembly and stuff? It's just like, it's uncontrollable. But I have no problem like with a podcast or small group of things. It's like I can't, you know what I mean? People are like, this guy never shuts up. I'm cutting everybody off. I'm like out of control here, but put me on a podium. I'm like,
absolutely, and I'm the same way. Like I do not like getting up in front of a bunch of people, especially peers or something. Like in school, like in chiropractic school, if I had to present something in front of people that knew just as much as I did, it was like, it's terrifying. But it's just more you do it, the better you get at it. It's that simple.
I think that's where the fear comes from for me, is like when you're the guy standing and talking out over a group, it's like you're there for they expect you to be somewhat of an authority on what you're talking about, as opposed to like here, it's like we're self-declared non-experts of anything. That's why.
Yeah, we're just talking.
I'm okay just to ask the stupid questions and be exactly. Be the listener and stuff. So, and that's relatable, but it doesn't necessarily translate to public speaking. So
yeah. No, I think that's a big one. I would say most people are naturally introverts, which therefore, public speaking is not a strong point by any means.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably getting, more exaggerated in today's community just with the amount of digital ways that we can communicate, and we don't have to be there. Yeah. I mean, people are giving presentations via Zoom sitting in their living room anymore.
Sure. What do you think, Finn? Are you, do you guys have like public speaking in school, or like you have to like give presentations or anything like that?
In language class, we usually do like presentations every 2 weeks or so. Like we have 1 week to do it, and then the next week we presentate it, and then we have like a week off, and then we do it again.
Yeah. What is a language class? What do they teach you in that?
Like it's just like kind of like booklets. We just do a page, and then we research it and write an essay about it. Like, for example, sometimes it would be about sports. Other times it would be like history. Like, we just write a report about it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it probably would have been like we would have had either like a literature class or like a formal English writing class or something like that is probably what it translates to now.
Yeah, it's like you're doing like mini book reports kind of thing, like
Yeah.
reading and then like just
Yeah.
reiterating what you got out of it type of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. That's probably good for you. We had a speech class when I was I think it was a public speaking class, and it was
In high school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, high school.
I didn't.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
Ninth grade.
College we did.
Yeah.
On high school.
Yeah, it helped, I guess.
Mhm.
Still not fun.
No.
No.
I'm
No.
actively
For me,
avoiding the
anyway.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ask. Please don't ask.
I
Even
have
at the
to.
roadshow, dude. I know they're
Oh,
going to
I
ask
know.
us like, hey, do you guys want to give a presentation about the thing I know the most about, probably. But
Well,
it's like,
and Cody always just like, not that he expects it, but like I'll show up. And he's like, okay, and he just starts writing your name on the board. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
like I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just talk about the products for everybody. I don't want to get up there. You know?
Yeah.
it's better that way sometimes, just to get thrown into it than be like, hey, prepare a thing. Because preparing freaks you out.
Yeah, every time I introduce myself at the roadshows, it's so short and sweet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just
Hey, I'm Kevin. Here we go.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Me meet Kevin.
I mean, I think that, whether it's a presentation or whatever, like the more you have to prepare for it, the worse it gets in your head.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like staring at a big buck walking across the field. Like if he just pops up on you and you're like, oh, I got to pull it together, versus like you're watching them from 150 yards walk straight to you. It's like there's a big difference between those two.
yes.
There's probably something to that, though, to having to face it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like looking back on it, having to deal with preparing for a public speech or whatever, or a long, drawn-out encounter with a big buck and then pulling it off. It's like you really got to face yourself to do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I look at the same thing with like, holding long on a deer, when you draw and you're like, oh, I drew early and now you got to kind of hold this out. Like it's as much mental as it is physical to keep it together,
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's that same way, you start to see the shakes come in and then it's like, boy, you can do that as long as you can make it back around and pull it all together before you pull that shot off.
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, you guys went to Missouri?
Yeah.
Last year?
Yep.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It was awesome. It was our first time out there. Hunted a lot of public land.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin lives out there and had a little small parcel that we hunted as well. But it was a lot of fun, just being in a different territory and the adventure of it for us. We went in with like,
Was it your first out-of-state hunt, Finn?
yeah,
Yes,
it was
it
Finn's
was.
first.
Wow.
It was awesome.
But yeah, just, no game planning really, just pulled up some spots on Onyx that we wanted to check out. And first sit, we had a buck that Finn passed up actually. So it was
remember
awesome.
Yeah,
It was
Not
a lot
big
of
enough,
fun.
huh?
it was about the same buck that I ended up. It was about the same size that I ended up shooting.
Uh-huh.
But it
Not
was
the
the
same
first
buck,
day.
though. Different
No,
buck.
it was a different buck.
And you had already killed your PA buck before that trip, right?
Yeah, we
We
both
both
killed
did.
in PA.
Yeah. So that
before
kind of, that always, Jared and I talk about that all the time where it's like, when you kind of have that accomplishment early, then it's like the rest of the season, your goals may change completely versus like if you went into that dry with no deer on the ground,
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. We were like, let's just go have fun,
Yeah.
we see what we see, and do what we want. And I was shocked that he passed that buck up the first sit, but I was also proud of him because it was like he wanted more out of that trip.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, I could kill this buck right now, and it would have been his best buck today, or second best, because you killed that nice one in PA.
With
And
trad bow, right?
that was with
No, with my
compound.
You had a compound with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, nah, I think I want to wait, so him holding out was awesome. And then he ended up killing one the last day. So
That's awesome. How did that go? When did you guys go out there and you're running and gunning like
Yeah.
every set?
yeah, every set was with the Lone Wolf custom gears. We run the 0.5s with doubles.
You
And,
both do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
So
badass.
he carries his in and I carry the sticks and stand in. And those, as you guys know, those stands and sticks are so light. Even for a kid, we could hike all we wanted all day. Like
Yeah.
you don't even know they're on you. So
Are you're running the little packs too, the custom gear packs that fit on the outside of them, or?
no, we don't. I run a bino harness and he runs a bino harness. And if it doesn't fit in the harness, we don't wear it.
Just a bino harness.
Yeah.
You guys weren't sitting all day or anything, right?
Oh yeah.
Some days.
Most days.
Where are you packing your snacks?
Bino harness.
Bino harness.
Pockets. Yeah. We don't take much with us. We were very
Minimalist.
Must have a pretty serious front hump to be packing like enough
Yeah. I mean, we don't.
water. Where you put your water?
Did we take?
I think we took one little mountain ops bag.
Maybe they're fasting.
I'm
Yeah, we need
today. I
to.
get it.
If I recall, that's definitely how we run in Pennsylvania. We might have taken that little Kafaru pack.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, we definitely did take that because we did take a bunch of waters in one day that we sat on.
gotta
Yeah,
take a walk.
hydration's
Like-
critical.
Yeah, so the days that we were
morning
planning,
sit in the bottom, we packed all day.
yeah, if we're gonna sit for just and we know we're gonna pull out, we don't take anything.
What about Sammy's? You got sandwiches with you?
Oh, dude.
Wow, Jared
all day
starve
set.
on
You guys
it all day.
are minimalists.
Yeah.
Jared's,
It's
Jared's
like
eating pulled pork at 7:30 in the morning.
it's always like one of those things for
I'm bringing
me.
like draft beer on my. You know what I
It's
mean?
funny you mention it though. Like my wife yells at me all the time because she's like, "Did you eat today?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think I did." You know, like and he's kind of the same way as I am, fortunately. But we will sit in the stand and be like, "I can't wait to get home. We're gonna have a big meal."
Just
Like,
savage it.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we just kind of get through it, but we do take some snacks here and there. But in Missouri, on the longer sits, we took the Kafaru, but it was mostly like it was tough because we didn't know the area. So we would hike in, and if it looked good, would sit. If not, if we couldn't find good sign, we just keep walking. You know. So we scouted and hunted, planning accordingly.
What just for context, what time of year were you guys out there?
We were
Halloween week, like the
Yeah, it
week
was
prior
the-
to Halloween.
cool.
Yeah.
the last week of October.
So
we
you
were
probably
out
had a
there.
lot of scrapes popping up and opening up, and
There
Yeah.
were so many rubs.
Really?
Yeah, and we didn't know what kind of pressure we'd run into also.
Yeah.
You know, so we did a lot of scouting. So we'd like scout in the morning, sit in the evening, and then go hunt that other spot in the morning, just kind of staggering that way, you know, so that we weren't just locked into one area, bouncing around quite a bit. And, you know, we saw some good deer, but I felt like the numbers were low in the areas that we were hunting. Like there was not a lot of deer, and not a whole lot of pressure either.
I was
We
gonna
ran
say
into a
that
few guys,
it's
but-
usually the next week or so because people will come and they'll bow hunt for 3 or 4 days and then they'll hit opening day of gun season on that first Saturday or whatever it is. And so that week is like the heavy bow hunting week because they just tack it on to the first week in a gun season. But where you guys were at, I think that week trailing into the next week is probably the best time frame out there, at least when I lived there.
Yeah, we had a blast. Saw a lot of, like I said, a lot of good deer. I could have killed one potentially. That it was kind of I always hung a double set, right? So I'd climb up, hang 2 sets, and then he would climb up in, and I always put him in the gunner seat, right? Like where we thought they were coming from. So the one evening we had a really nice, it was an 8 or a 10, come through about like 40, 50 yards. And I could have probably got a shot, but I thought he was coming. Like I thought he was going to be able to kill him, and he ended up skirting us. But then we set up on him the next morning,
Didn't see a deer.
and we sat all day. We got in super early. We thought he'd do the same thing, and he never showed. But Finn pulled a prank on me that night.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember
Go
that
ahead
one.
and tell him.
Well, so we were like, it was like high hopes, and like we thought he was going to come the same time because he seemed like he was headed somewhere because we grunted at him, snort wheezed, everything. And so it was like about the same time, and we were both like anxious because we thought he was coming for sure. And my dad, he couldn't see the trail to our right, which is where he walked prior. And then I was like, Dad, here he is. But I was like super excited, and he was like, calm down, buddy, calm down. It was super
He got
funny.
me so good. Yeah. Like,
It was
I mean, we
awesome.
do that to each other occasionally, but it was like, you know how when that feeling is there, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
here it
happen.
comes, here it comes.
You gotta be careful with it though, because then
Yeah.
the next time you say it,
Oh, so the story gets a lot better, right? You remember that? I got you back. We'll tell the story here. So he reached
he's
back.
like, no, I don't remember that part.
He reached back and hit me in the leg. And he's like, Dad, here it comes. And I was like it hit me
Locked
like
up.
because I thought he was coming, and it was. I mean, the setup was if he would have came through, he was dead, and the setup was perfect. So I thought for sure that was going to work out with him or another buck doing the same thing.
Oh, we were on the riverside too. It was like I remember it.
Yeah, right in that pinch.
Mhm.
And he just got me so good, and I turned around and he looks up and smiles. I'm like, oh. But later and then that was about midweek, and then we had to go to Chicago for a hockey tournament. So we kind of we drove out to Missouri, hunted till Friday morning and then drove to Chicago for his hockey tournament. And the last morning, we hunted just the little private piece that we had permission to hunt from my cousin. And there was a nice buck in there earlier in the week running does around her pond. So we set up in a cedar. I trimmed out the cedar, and we were only, 5-6 feet off the ground?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was
It wasn't too high.
It was a wet morning. I'll let you tell the story about the buck coming in, but the recovery is the good part.
Oh, yeah.
You jump right on that mic, Finn.
Oh, okay.
Pull that into you.
So in the morning, we got up and we walked down so she had like horses, and we like crossed the fence, got up in the cedar tree that we trimmed out the night before. And we got in, and it wasn't too long. It was probably like 8:30-ish when it walked. Well, when there was a doe. She was pretty young. She walked in and she bedded down like on the bank of the pond.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 5-10 minutes later, we heard a buck grunt, and he came running in like right away. And he came like right trail. So the cedar tree was here. There was like the doe, and he ran right in front of us. And I stopped him. I stopped him a little too late, and he was like right behind a branch. So I was already at full draw, and I got up on my tippy toes, and I punched him right in the liver. Yeah.
And that's the one you got?
Yeah, that's the one I got.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
And you stopped him by yourself?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all. And you weren't filming or anything, right? You guys were
I
like,
didn't have time. I was right
He
there.
he
with
like
him.
ran right in, and I had to stop him.
Just came in that fast. And those little cedar patches.
You
and
have that
stuff is
picture?
tough.
You pull that up?
Yeah.
I'll see it here at some point.
So
And then there was another buck that ran in, but he was way smaller.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's
Sounds
freaking
like a
awesome.
hot spot. So you ended up killing him on the permission that you guys had.
On the last morning.
Yep.
on the
Yeah.
last morning.
Those
yeah.
cedar trees are awesome, man. You can tuck right in there, and I bet
Yeah.
you guys were super hidden.
Yeah, we were hidden.
Yeah.
Well, and at 5 or 6 feet, like that's what makes it difficult when they come in like that. There's a lot more branches. You don't have that angle to be able to get up over top of those things. So yeah, I mean, to get up on your tippy toes to understand that you need to get over the top, that's big.
Yes, and now when he came in and he was coming in so fast, I didn't even have time to like.
Yeah,
He
That's
just
awesome.
did it on his own, and that branch was right out in front of him there. And when I saw that branch, I wanted him to wait just a pinch longer so he was slightly quartering away.
Mm-hmm.
But hindsight's 20/20. If he wouldn't have stopped him where he stopped him, maybe that buck would have taken 1 or 2 more steps and he wouldn't have been able
Sure.
to kill him, right?
Yeah.
So when he grunted and he stopped that way, he was kind of quartering to us, which I was like, oh boy. And I saw that branch. And when I saw him get up on his tippy toes and drill him, I was just ecstatic. And
Yeah.
it ran down in the creek bottom. We had to go to Chicago that night. So I was like, I knew where he hit him. I was like, buddy, we're going to have to wait a while. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So we hiked
Cody
away.
DeQuisto shot right in the center punch.
Yeah. We
Center
hiked
mass.
away around, got up on the road, walked back to my cousins, and I said, buddy, we're just going to sit here and glass this bottom all day. Like,
Yep.
that's what we're going to do.
Because she had a porch that like overlooked her whole entire property, because it was only probably like a 25-acre piece.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
not
was-
even.
And it was narrow, right? So it was longer than it was
Yeah.
wide. So we just got there and started packing up to leave.
And you didn't see the deer go down, right? It was just out of sight.
No.
Yeah.
But I knew he was hit really hard just the way he reacted.
Yeah.
And we glassed, and every 15 minutes I'd go out and just glass some more, and then I'd get tired and go back in. And finally, like at noon, it just got bright enough out that I saw the buck's belly.
Wow.
And Finn
And then
was
we saw birds fly from him,
yeah,
right?
and then I saw some birds fly up. So I went in the house, and Finn was doing homework for the week because he was way behind.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, he couldn't even do his homework, right? Like he's in there just,
How could you?
He was just thinking about the buck. I was like, buddy, I found him. He's like, shut up, Dad. I know you're just trying to get me back.
Oh, I
I'm like,
remember
dude,
it
I
now.
found him. And he's like, no, you didn't. Don't lie to me. Don't mess with me like that. And we
Yeah.
went out, and so he thought I was getting him back for what he.
Were you a little in the dumps? Like, did you think like you're not sure you're gonna find him?
Well, I knew I hit him like not super far back, so I had high hopes, kind of. But then I didn't know if he like got up and ran to the neighbor's property,
Mhm.
or if we didn't have time to find him because we had to head to Chicago
Yeah.
the next day, or well, that night.
Yeah.
That was the big concern because the property's so small that then we got to go get permission and all that to go recover them. But all worked out. We didn't push it.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Where we put a shot on it, even if we think it's a good one, and then whatever, the track job or rain or timing like doesn't work out, and you find yourself in the low of lows pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's normally how it works out is you kill one like on the last day, or we've all done it multiple times, and then you just like plans change. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to do what you can do to recover it. So
yeah.
That's awesome that you guys got them though. That's so cool.
That's the one Finn killed in Pennsylvania.
On
our farm. Yeah.
That was early on.
Yeah, it was
earlier.
What, October 9th?
Yeah, I was gonna say like second week. Yeah, no, they FaceTime me.
Yeah.
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 That was a good one too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool. Well, do you know how many bucks you've killed now?
$3.
Keep track. Those you killed 2 that year, and
yeah, I killed a little 4-point in rifle season 2 years ago, or might have been 3. I'm not sure.
It was 2 or 3 years.
So
ago.
that PA buck is your first bow buck.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's killed several does with recurve, and then
That's wild.
we kind of started off backwards, right? Like a lot of dads are getting their kids into hunting and using crossbows and whatnot, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great to get kids into it. My approach was Finn likes to do everything the way that I do it, and I like things the hard way sometimes. And I thought, well, he's either going to love to hunt or not. And he's either going to continue to hunt even though he's not killing things because he loves it, or he's not going to want to hunt. You know, like I wasn't really worried about him losing interest, because if he loses interest, then he doesn't have what I have and what I love. And he doesn't like to hunt as much as I do. Like he'll admit that, but he just loves being out there with me. And so he learned to shoot a recurve at a very young age. I have videos of him in diapers shooting a recurve. And he just started out with a recurve and started killing some does with it out of blinds real close. And then finally he came to me, he's like, Dad, I'm sick of being like handicapped with this thing, because would have bucks come in at 20 yards. And I'm like, no, bud, sorry.
Too
he's
far.
not, because he's only drawn, 32 to 35 pounds. And then finally he's like, let's get compounds. So 2 years ago I got a compound, he got a compound.
And that was your first like switch over to a compound in a while,
years,
right?
like 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the range like now? Like how far do you practice, and how far do you think you'd shoot a buck?
I usually practice like from 20, 25, and 30 are my pins right now. But I could probably shoot out to maybe 40, 35
at the
probably.
range maybe, but probably like 25 and in is what you're trying to get a shot at a deer on.
Yeah, 25 and in probably.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Which probably helps. I bet your mindsets from like your setups and stuff are still very trad bow focused, which means like you're in tight on them.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was the good thing with the trad bow, is he learned all the intricate movements in a stand and what you can get away with and what you can't, because he had a lot of encounters being close to animals with the trad bow. So that helped him a lot. And then just being handicapped with it, like being able to draw and just hold, it's a game changer for him.
Sure.
And the pins, frankly, like he can put something on the deer versus just instinctively shooting it.
Do you know what poundage you're drawing?
I haven't shot in a while, so I was shooting 42 or 43.
Yeah, you're up to 43, I think.
What kind of bow is it?
It's an elite basin.
A basin?
Yeah.
What kind of broadhead do you have on there?
Oh, what's it called?
Or is it a fixed blade or a mechanical or a?
No, it's a fixed blade, but it's called a Grim Reaper or something like that.
Yeah, you did shoot Grim Reapers this year.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanicals?
No.
Mm-mm.
Does Grim Reaper
No,
make a fixed blade?
they're 4-blade fixed.
Yeah.
Fixed blade Grim Reapers are real kind of small diameter.
Tight.
Yeah, but
Just for better penetration.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
devastated both those deer he shot with them.
Nice.
But when he was hunting with the trad bow, I was thinking he shot the iron wills, but I shot iron wills for years, and so did he. Single bevel cut on contact. So.
That's wild, man. Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, Finn. I mean, obviously, most kids are not even thinking about a recurve at your age, let alone even in their life at this point anymore, just because of how technology and stuff is. But I mean, that's how I started just shooting bows, was with, like, I went downstairs and the basement. My dad's recurve was there, and I was like, hey, can I shoot this? He's like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
Go ahead. And I just started going out. I didn't know what I was doing. Just started slinging arrows, you know, and eventually I got a compound, and like that's what I've had since. But yeah, anytime I shoot a buck early, usually I carry my recurve or longbow the rest of the season.
Was your dad hunting with a recurve at the time?
Mm-mm.
No, he just had it from.
Mm-hmm. He hunted with it when he was younger. But yeah, he just always had it. He used to hang it in the, I don't know if it's legal, but he used to have it hanging in the tree. So like for, I don't know what years these were, but like, let's say the 80s, right, in Pennsylvania. Most guys were only killing their does during the 3-day gun season, a doe season in Pennsylvania. And so during bow season, you could shoot a doe. I think it was through most of that, but he would have that with it was a big rubber blunt tip at the end, and he would just shoot does with it out of the tree stand.
Yes, definitely not legal.
So as they would come by, he would just shoot a doe with it, you know, just as like practice from the stand.
Yeah.
You know,
That's funny.
that's just all. And, you know, waiting on the first, 3 inches spike to come by.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all he did. But yeah, no, it was just hanging in the basement. And
That's cool though.
Yeah, just went out and shot it.
Honestly, I can remember when he was really little, he would want to go with me. So I had a couple like double ladder stands over food plots, the does would come in and he would take his little tiny, wooden.
oh yeah,
It was a longbow, I think. And he'd have arrows, and he had the arrows all taped up for inside. So he would shoot stuffed animals in the house, and he would want to take it. Like he wanted to go hunting. So I was like, okay, buddy. And those would come in, butts, and you'd see him launching arrows out of the tree, He almost hit one a couple of times, but it would have never done anything, right? You're drawing, 10 pounds, something like that.
no, yeah, that's funny.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt.
Should be no surprise to anyone listening to this that back with Hoyt another season. I'm actually going to be shooting the AX2 aluminum this year.
You traitor.
But you're still going RX9.
Yeah, blacked
carbon,
out as always.
Blacked out. Big surprise for
80
everyone.
pounds. Big surprise. Yeah.
But seriously, man, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Every year it seems like we get a new Hoyt bow in our hands, and they're always a step above the last and just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, they're so consistent, man. Just their processes get better, every year. And we've really been excited about, as we've grown with Hoyt, we've brought some others in with us. And we just feel like the Hoyt family is growing, like the community, and we're really excited about the people that are involved, excited to be a part of that company. And it's really awesome.
So for anyone that's excited about Hoyt like Jared and I are, you can use the code HUNTR, HUNTR, on Hoyt.com.
Get serious, get Hoyt.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, like, the progression of things even, and, a lot of it is just kind of who you learned from and what you did. But, like, even when I had my first compound, I think the first year I shot with that, I was 13. I killed a button buck or something, but I was shooting fingers with my compound. I didn't even know, like, what a release was at that time.
Yeah.
So I was shooting fingers, and I think it was either that deer or the deer right before it. I missed like 3 times, and then I finally hit it.
Most guys were, right? Didn't releases, I remember guys started using them like late 90s, like right around 2000.
I mean, I think they had releases
maybe even
out.
After, maybe even after that.
There just wasn't a lot of people using them. And the bows were, most people coming out of the 80s were using early wheeled compounds with fingers, I would say. I mean, my dad's was like a bear whitetail. It was a wooden compound that he camo duct tape.
Yeah. Because everybody was, right? Everybody was shooting, even if you had the wheel bows, you were shooting fingers, more likely to finger tabs.
Yep.
But then I can remember the first one my dad got. I mean, I must have been 10, probably. So it would have been like 2003. Is that right?
I was probably earlier than that, because I think I would have killed my first deer with a bow in 97, which would have been fingers. And I think probably by 99 or 2000, I was shooting an Allen release, caliper release.
Yep, so right in there, right around 2000.
Yep.
Like dad's was, maybe it wasn't Allen. It was either an Allen, or I remember my first one probably was a Cobra.
Yep.
Cobra archery.
I shot that Allen release for 15 years.
We all did, dude. I
Like,
shot that Cobra, like,
yeah.
I probably still have it somewhere.
Yeah. No, that was like forever.
Then I got a Scott mongoose at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Winky was shooting that, and I was like,
That sounds right.
That's the move, you know?
Yeah, whatever Bill's shooting.
Yeah. I just switched to that back tension until
I've
been shooting that now for what?
3 or 4 years?
At least.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4 or 5 years.
Are you shooting a trigger release?
It's like a thumb release.
You're shooting a thumb?
Thumb button. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Fucking
running the
kids
thumb.
advanced here.
Is that what you're shooting too? Or?
Yeah, I run a thumb, but I run it like a back tension, says he. So that's where
Wow.
I don't think that's technically correct. I mean, I'm wrong in saying that there is not a true back tension.
It's not a true back tension, but it's a thumb button. So like with traditional archery, he ran a clicker too. So he knew like he kept pulling with his back, and when the clicker went off, it broke. So I taught him when he switched to a compound, we ran a thumb, and he just hooks it deep, but he just starts pulling, and the thumb just naturally comes back. So
Oh, interesting.
he's not punching the thumb; it's just locked in, right?
Which one is it? Do you know?
It's a Boeing, I think. I'm not sure which one you're running, but
Gotcha.
It's like, I don't know what it is.
it was expensive. I know that. I don't know
It
what
sounds
the brand
scary to guys who are like, like you're used to this motion here.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a thumb for 30 shots, and then it went back in the drawer.
Yeah.
You did for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just didn't feel
Yeah,
comfortable with it, or-
I bought a Carter chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was all over the place. I just did not. I could like anchor everything. Like
accurate, yeah.
whole motion. Like I just felt like when we were talking about saddles. Like I was just doing everything different. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it would be a hard thing to be if you're not having issues like with target panic or with that style of a trigger. It's like, yeah, it's definitely a different. It was a relearning process for sure. Mine was target panic driven, so I was like, I have to like drastically change something. So I just did it,
Yeah.
But
In traditional archery, like I feel like all of that is so important, and form and and knowing your shot process. So Finn has a shot process and runs through it no matter what, and we let our pins just do the thing. Like a lot of people are punching, and once that pin's where they want it, then they squeeze. Or he knows that it can bounce around and it'll go back to where he needs it. So he just keeps running his shot, and it was an easy transition for him, really. Like it didn't take him long.
yeah.
But that was why, if you remember on the last podcast when I said I switched to a compound, I was kind of all over the place because I just was not used to that yet. Running an actual release versus just my fingers
and motion.
And the motion and the let off and all that, like, and the weight. I mean, they're two different animals, but I mean, obviously the compounds, now it's just like, we feel like we're cheating almost, but
yeah,
it's fun.
It's a funny thing to like when it works, when you shoot archery like the way that you're supposed to. Like it's one thing to I try to sit here and listen like from the perspective of like, you're hearing it, or from somebody who's not either done it or feels like they're not successfully executing some of the techniques like that we're talking about. But then when it actually happens, you're like, oh, like I get it now. There's an understanding in my mind of what just aiming and a surprise release actually means.
Yeah,
it can. Sure. I think it's way more intimidating to like hear it and be like, what do you mean? Like you're supposed to be surprised by it every time. And maybe that's just the way that we have to like express it verbally. But when it happens, you're like, oh yeah, no, I get it. Like what it actually means is like everything is just functioning together, and I shouldn't have to have as much of a hard line on the command. I'm just backing that off.
And that's where that target panic starts to creep in, because you're bracing for that impact.
Right.
Even though it's small, like you're bracing for that thing to go off. And that's when you have a hard time, controlling your shot. I think the light bulb for me went off when like I started implementing all this stuff and it was working great. And so I stuck with it, but I was like, wow, this is kind of strange. But then one time there was a groundhog out in our cow pasture, and I grabbed a 22 with just a red dot, no magnification. It was like 150 yards. So that red dot covered up all of that groundhog.
Yeah.
And I just used the same process, right? You put the red dot on it. I couldn't see the groundhog, but I was just like, just keep pulling. Just keep pulling. And I hit it. And I was like, if you just use that same process through any style of shooting, it's amazing. So
when I was Finn's age, we used to go out, and there was this field behind our house. I was really fortunate to have there was a decent chunk of woods and fields and stuff behind our house. We lived in kind of a cul-de-sac, but not like cookie cutter homes and stuff. and I had permission on some of those places, and we'd go back out there, and one of the far hillsides just was like littered with groundhog holes, and so we could get out and then creep over the hill, and you'd see like 10 of them, 10, 15 of them out there. So I'd bring a spotter, my buddy, with me, and we'd glass these things, and then I mean they were easily, I don't know, 250, 300 yards away, like way far away, and I would take my bow at the time and just try to get in the habit of, I mean, I wasn't aiming at them. I was just like, how can I get it to come down on them? And I never actually hit one, but I got dang close.
Oh, yeah.
Like within a few feet. You just figure out where the arc is at. I think I would use like my bottom cam and try to line it up with a fence post or something. And
one of my favorite things to do, even when I was older, is if you see like a field that's recently cut and they have the round bells everywhere. You know,
yeah,
like you
that's exactly what this was. Yeah.
Take a trad bow and just sneak from round bow to round bow shooting groundhogs. Oh, it's always a blast. But yeah, it's a good time.
Well, are you guys going back? Do you have a trip planned for this year? Or
nothing specifically. I mean, we can always go back, so that's an easy over the counter pool. You just show up. Grab
that wasn't
tag.
like the first question. Is when are we coming back? Or
he wants to go back, but we'll see what his hockey schedule looks like. That's the big.
They're probably going to end up in Ohio next.
That's going to become a problem for you.
That's the next trip, right?
Yeah,
hockey or hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy's been awesome letting us go to his place, and we love it there. So we'll probably hunt Ohio a week and see what happens.
Did you guys shed hunted, right? Did you guys find those sheds that are?
Yeah, they found the shed.
Yeah, we went out. We went out a trip before that too. What did we go out there for the first time for?
It was my birthday, sometime in March.
You hunted.
I went out second. Was it?
Oh,
it was no, it wasn't second season. It was the end of
right before gun season.
And I hunted a few days out there by myself. It might have just been one day. Something
it was
came
1 or
up.
2 days. I think your wife got sick and you had to head home.
Yeah, I ended up going home early, but hunted one day. Had a really good encounter with the buck that we found the one shed off of, and then we found another really nice side too. So we made it out there twice, and it's such a cool place because it reminds me of like the old Pennsylvania hunting cabins. You know, just a little cinder block building, nothing special, and it's so special. Like it's just really cool. So yeah, we'll probably go back out there. But Finn got to go out shed hunting with me, and we were blown away with how that turned out. But
yeah, you guys put some miles on.
Yeah, and found them in the first 5 minutes.
Isn't that crazy?
And then we didn't find any
and then
other
nothing.
ones.
Then nothing.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, we walked all day, and the first spot we wanted to check was down in the bottom. And literally, I was telling Finn, like, don't look for the whole antler. You know, we've done a lot of shed hunting over the years, and I've been pretty successful. I'm like, just pick out a little spot of a shed. Like, don't look for the whole thing, and you'll find more. And I no sooner said that and looked over, and I was like, no way. You know, like, we weren't even 2 minutes into it.
We didn't even start really looking yet. It was just
I think that
lucky.
shed was on the ground when I killed the doe.
I'm sure it
Because I
was.
sat in that blind that was right there, and it was the last week of January, I think I killed her.
I don't know when he dropped. I'd have to go back through the
He was
pictures.
early. I think he was like early January, something like that.
And he dropped both sides.
Yep. So I assume that
rather
antler
quickly.
was like 15 yards from where I shot that doe, but I went after her and didn't even look in that area.
Wait, Dad, what if you shot like the doe what if you shot the buck but he didn't have his antlers on? Does that happen?
You gotta pay attention.
You gotta pay attention to that. Yeah.
You know how they have like the little bald spots when they drop?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta look.
I thought about it when I saw that doe because I was like, she was huge. It was the biggest doe I've ever killed, and I was like, I glassed her for like 10 minutes before I shot her, just to make sure that she wasn't.
Same thing you
shut
do
out.
with like button bucks on the property. You know, you're looking just to make sure.
But that other one you found that 8, he carried the other side for like a week plus afterwards.
Yeah.
He dropped that one side that I think you guys found, and then he carried that other side for like a week. So who knows where that ended up.
I'm surprised we didn't pick up the other side off of the short G2 buck.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys shed hunt public down there too, or just Jeremy's place?
Pretty much just Jeremy's. We walked on public a little bit
Yeah,
there.
up on the top. Mm-hmm.
The top, and then through the saddle out
Yep.
that way a little ways. But honestly,
did
there's
you-
so much woods and so much property.
Have you walked that whole thing?
What's that?
Like in shed season, have you walked that whole property? And been in there? No?
No.
You've never shed hunted it?
I shed hunted it last year a little bit, but that was right after they timbered, so good luck. Like, you're crawling through.
And it's still kind of like that.
Oh,
like
yeah,
down
it's
in
thick.
the valleys, and it's thick.
Yeah.
So you're climbing over a lot of stuff. It was easier with him because we'd split up. Not that I'm real confident in him not seeing something, but we'd tag team it kind of and cover a bunch of stuff. But
the other thing last year was like because of that drought, like most of the plots were toast. So that bottom where they found both of those, I had went in and reseeded rye and some brassica late, and that's the same field that I ended up killing my buck walking to. But that was basically the only food. Like the 4 fields up on the top were like dirt. There's nothing in
what
them.
were those supposed to be?
Clover. Yeah. But that drought and it was first year clover. Like those, a few months before that, they were all standing timber. But those ones look awesome right now.
Get some alfalfa in there this year?
A little bit. Some chicory too.
Yeah. That's a nice offset for the drought tolerance.
Yeah, but they look way better than I would have thought.
Oh, dude. I mean, right now, everybody's, I think we're in good shape.
Yeah. Rain is good.
Never
Rain is
better.
cooking.
Are you guys working on, I don't know, property projects, farm projects at your guys' place this year?
yeah, actually the last couple of weeks I've been working a lot on them. Unfortunately, not a whole lot on the food plots, just some TSI stuff. We had a microburst come through, that storm that came through and knocked the power out we had no power for 3 or 4 days, but it came through 5 minutes and there was just trees everywhere.
That was just earlier this year.
Yeah.
Dude, there's Pittsburgh, was without power for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
A lot of parts of it.
So I spent a better part of 3 full days just cleaning up trail systems from trees being down, and where Finn killed his buck in Pennsylvania, a tree fell down and right where his stand was. So I had to clean all that up. And I mean, you get a chainsaw out and a tractor and a brush hog and just trying to, we had the property timbered and like some TSI done on it 6-7 years ago, like a select cut. So it's super thick. And so we have to keep our skidder trails kind of all cleared and open just for trail systems for the deer, but for us as well.
That's the only way you're getting through.
Yeah. So I mean, we had probably 12 trees down, 13 trees, like big trees. So just been cleaning those up. I did clip my clover plot last week, trimmed it real high, just took the flowers off, and then opened up another trail that I think will kind of reroute the deer and help us a little bit. They tend to do something I don't like them to do, so I'm kind of manipulating them a little bit. We'll see if it works. But I did all those changes, hung a camera, and for the last 3 days I haven't seen a deer. But that's typical for my place.
That's fine. Are you into that at all, Finn? Like, do you enjoy doing stuff on the property, or?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun. It can be like the one day we were working on it. It was rainy and it was cold, so I went back and made lunch, and then.
And that's
an important gig too.
It's partially my fault. Like, if it's nice out, we're doing like stuff around the house, right?
Yeah.
Yard work, barn work, because I have cattle and stuff. And then if it's raining, I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit inside. So that's when I do all my deer stuff. If it's raining, that's when I'm out. Better for scent control. And it's like, well, my wife won't be mad at me because I'm doing stuff that's, ahead of other things. So
yeah. What part of that do you enjoy? Do you like hanging stands, or do you like planting the food plots, or?
I enjoy planting the food plots and brush hogging.
Brush
hogging's fun.
Do you guys plant plots every year? Like, are you doing brassicas and rye and stuff, or is it just
we usually plant like 2 plots a year and different things? Like the one year we had, I forget what it's called, but we had something else. And then we usually just keep like the upper food plot and the lower food plots in clover.
Yeah.
Has that property been geared more towards early season, like from
No, so it probably was, but I hate to say because I'm not a fan of this, but I feel like I've created a doe factory. It's like I have 3 doe groups that live on the 45 acres, and I've created that through my work. Different to have them not be competing with each other. So the bucks they're not there all summer. They're just not in there, which. It's kind of a good thing because it's not a big piece, and I'm in there doing a lot of work and and the kids will walk the trails and stuff. Like I used to be like my wife likes to hike and stuff. I'm like, no, you're not
on our place.
You're not walking it, like she wants horses. No, or you're not taking the horses on these trails. And so it's like that. Now I've kind of like, I've calmed down with all that. I'm like, just go have fun. Like it is what it is. Right. And like I want my girls to enjoy the property as well as him for other things, 4-wheelers or whatever. But certain areas I've kind of built it. So like, no matter what kind of pressure we put on the property, those areas are going to be good. So the bucks, I don't think that's why the bucks aren't there. I think the bucks aren't there because it's so thick that they just don't like the velvet being around that thick. Because as soon as October rolls around, they start showing up, right? So it's
that's what you want.
Yeah,
perfect.
It kind of works out that way. But
where's your closest ag? Like big ag?
Right next door.
So they're probably just married to that.
Yeah, my house is like, it's kind of set up nice. All my access, any west wind, my scent's good for access, right? So where my house is and all that. And the ag is just down off the township road. So my property's kind of like a big hillside, like, steps kind of in it. And the food plots are low. And I do have a food plot up high, but they come down and stage into my lower food plots before going to the big ag typically.
Yeah. Did you guys do any good shed hunting it this year? Any prospects?
I know a few deer made it. We didn't pick any sheds up off of us. Everything around us pretty much posted up. So I know where the sheds are, and I used to be able to shed hunt it. I just stopped asking, but there's one deer that's going to be probably pretty good. That's about it though.
It's classic Pennsylvania though.
Yeah, we'll have one good deer, and we'll have a lot of good 2-year-olds. The buck I killed, I know. I was texting you guys.
We were all over the place on that deer,
dude. I was gonna bring it just to show you the skull of this thing.
Yeah,
like all my other 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds on the wall, this skull dwarfs it. Like it's huge, but the antlers are just,
yeah.
But his body was ginormous.
He didn't know the deer.
I didn't know the deer. No, I couldn't figure out who he was.
Interesting.
It's about the only way to really nail him down for age-wise, at least.
You do that? You send teeth in, or?
I didn't send the teeth in. I was going to, and I was just like, it's not that big.
It's kind of how I am too. I have some still in my freezer. I'm like, I'll get to it.
But our area, there's always a buck that's old with crappy genetics. Like the one side's just goofy, and it seems like when they hit that 4 or 5, they just don't do anything else. Like it's like all the bigger they get. But then there's another gene pool there that we'll have 1 or 2 that, like the neighbor killed a 160 2 years ago, and he was a stud, and I knew he was there, but he just never came on my property.
Yeah. It is interesting how you have those kind of like overlapping. We see that too. There was a deer that I was hunting last year in Ohio that was about 5. I'm fairly confident he's 5 years old. I hadn't found his shed maybe ever. You know what I mean? I don't know. The thing, it's just there's a lot of ground. In the way that our farm lays, it's kind of like, it's just hard. We do find a lot of sheds, but it's just like there's a lot of deer too. So it's I don't know. We didn't find a shed off of them. And I found both of them this past year. I found his right side from this past year as a 5-year-old, and his right side from the prior year as a 4-year-old. And I mean, dude, I had him pegged for. I mean, I would have bet money he was at least 140. Probably mid 40s, just clean 8-point. Not a giant, but big bodied sucker. That's what we're hunting. And that thing was a turd. Like when I found the sheds, first of all, they were identical. Like not an inch of difference from one year to the next. They were exactly the same. And I didn't actually put a tape on him, but I'd be surprised if he scores 130.
Wow,
genuinely. I was just like, but you find that out when you get your hands on them. And dude, I found a couple nice 3-year-old sheds. I showed Jeremy the other day. I'm convinced. I mean, those are both 3-year-old deer. I've got history with both of them, and one's, decent, what you would expect. Like 3-year-old mass on them, and the other one is like a slob, just heavy base. Like he's probably got 4.5 inch. What do you think? 4?
No, I bet it's way over 4. I bet it's closer to 5-inch base.
Got like a 5-inch base, just heavy all the way out. Nice 9-point. So it's hard to know what to attribute those to.
Oh, I'd send you both pictures, and you were like, I think he's 2.5, and you said 2.5, and then I was like, I don't know, his body's huge.
You're like, I can't accept that.
And Jeremy's like, well, there's only one way to find out. I was like, all right, and I shot him that next night or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, the body was, when I got up to him, Finn came and helped me recover him. He goes, Dad, that body's huge. I was like, I know, he's a tank.
Yeah. Did you weigh him?
No, I didn't weigh him.
But even like those two deer that you guys found, like I remember getting, especially that 8, when I got him in the summer on camera, I'm like, deer's a slob. You know, he's young, but like that's slob. And I mean, I think, what did I say? Like he scored like 129 probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and but like when you're looking at him, you're like I would have thought that deer was easily in the like mid to high 30s.
Yeah, certain pictures you see them like. That's the hard thing with trail cameras. Sometimes you look at a picture and like, that deer's huge, and then other times you're like, and we keep going back with some of the velvet pics we're getting now. It's like, is that buck? I don't know. I thought it'd be bigger. You just never know from one year to the next, and genetics does play a big role in how big they can get.
I think it's the body size too. Like even your Temptation buck in Ohio, like we were getting pictures of that deer, just were like, wow, that deer is a slammer. And then your neighbor found the sheds and he's like,
yeah, and not even like just more like, yeah, he needs another. He's just obviously young, you know. You can tell even just from the mass of the horn. I do need to get, maybe Sunday I'll run over there and get hands on him. But there was a really nice 3-year-old that I passed up on November 1st that I guess I didn't put too much effort into trying to score him, but I would have said he was pushing 40, I think.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, push him. I mean, a stud. He was like mainframe 12, split brows and stuff. Maybe even more than that. And but just, you know, he's got that 3-year-old man. Well, genuinely, the whole first part of last year, do you remember? Where like I had him as a 1-year-old the year before.
Yeah,
I thought he was a 1-year-old. But I'm like, I mean, dude, he's like 140. Like as a 2-year-old, I'm like, I mean, statistically improbable. It's possible.
Yeah, very unlikely.
So for a long time, I'm like back and forth. I'm like, is he 2? I'm like, just, and ultimately, I guess we landed on, I guess he must have been 2.5 the year before, and he just was like really wiry looking, and then he exploded as a 3-year-old. I think is where he's at. So yeah, we'll see. I've got pictures of him already this year, early on, but he'll be. I bet he'll be high 40s.
And so you're thinking he was like
maybe low 50s,
like low 30s last year?
I don't know. I'll have to grab those sheds and I'll throw tape on him. Why not?
Yeah, it's wild when you get into that side of it.
He looks like I'll show you guys a picture.
Yeah, just trying to figure him out. Like I know that non-typical buck will be 5 this year.
Yep.
For sure. And if that drop time 8 shows back up, like he would be ancient, he'd be like 7, probably. That's like the oldest deer that I've got on that place, or that mainframe 11 would be like 7 this year. So there's plenty of deer that like can reach that mark. But I think also it's just kind of going through. I mean, we've only had all of that property really since like 23. You know, we had the main farm late 21. So, I mean, if you're trying to recruit those deer through the age classes to get them to 4 or 5, it takes 4 or 5 years to get them there. So, like, that deer that I shot last year, you know, I was fairly confident in the summer he was 5, but his body didn't look like it. His teeth said he was, so who knows. But I had enough history to go back and have him at 4 last year and then 3 the year before, which was the first year I had the property. And so... you know, that history is really what's going to give you the best opportunity to age a deer. HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Pure Wildlife Blends.
Man, what a critical component just to everything that we talk about, especially during these off-season months. You know, we're looking at and developing these different farms and trying to improve them from year to year. And whether that's food plots or different switch screenings or bedding areas, they all require a dedicated and thoughtful seed blend.
Yeah, so obviously Pure Wildlife Blends being Jeff and Jen Sturgis, we've built a great relationship with those guys. And really what we're seeing is a true testament to them picking the best varieties for these mixes. In fact, we're leaning on clover a lot more. The perennial plot power that those guys do was one of the best clover plots I've ever seen. From December to March, we had more deer in a single clover plot than I've ever seen. A lot of these sheds coming from that plot or right around it. again, just a true testament to what these guys are creating at Pure Wildlife Blends.
No doubt. And so if you guys are looking for just a workhorse seed that the deer will really use the way that you want them to use it, you can use promo code HUNTR, HUNTR, for a discount on the Pure Wildlife Blends website.
We, thinking back on the trail cam pictures that I got last year, we should have some decent 3.5-year-olds, maybe 1 or 2 4-year-olds. But like I said, it's hard for me to even know until closer to season because they just don't show up.
Have you guys looked at, just because knowing your hunting style and stuff, have you guys looked at or thought about taking a trip to the big woods of Pennsylvania or something?
We thought about it.
Yeah.
I've hunted at some big woods from time to time, but it's just the time for me. Like that's my big thing. Like having my own property works out well for me. And I take, like before when I was in private practice, I'd hunt every morning and evening and then go to work. Right. Now my schedule's a little different where I have the ability to just take off weeks, through the season. So if there's nothing like good on my property, I probably will go hunt other properties and, big woods or other private pieces I have permission on. Cause I don't put all the eggs in the basket at my place. It's more for him than any of us, but, having the time to even scout anymore with 3 kids and work, and I don't get home till 5, 6 o'clock most nights and run into hockey and different things. It's just time's limited for me now. So it's like, well, I'd rather just put the time that I do have, I'd rather put it into the property and just continue to make it better versus scouting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's, so we've got 28 acres here and like same thing. It's like I kind of have it set up for the kids. You know, that's where they do all of their hunting here at least. And, but they'll be, every year I have a 5-year-old that shows up on that property. He's not living on it, right? He's coming off the mountain, but, there's a chance.
Yeah.
But, I think last year I probably sacrificed most of the hunting in Pennsylvania and just was kind of like just running on the mountain and throwing a cell cam up on this ridge and a cell cam up on this ridge and just scouting this area. And like most of those cameras are still out right now. And I bet I've got 6 or 7 bucks over 4 years old on camera right now.
Oh, wow.
Several 5-year-olds probably.
There's some good game lands around my place, but like to get to the big woods, you're looking at it's an hour and a half, 2 hours to like good big woods around us. And the game lands are decent, but they
get pressured.
There's nowhere you're going without running into somebody.
Yeah.
So.
That's what's nice about up here. I mean, we've got state forest ground and the state park ground and game lands. Like I think total it's like, I don't know, 120,000 acres or something up there. I mean, you still run into people. Like I run into people all the time, but you can get deep enough there that you can find some of those bucks slip through.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's also, I think most of the time I sat up there, I didn't see a deer. It was days on end of like, I was in there for a deer and I didn't see any deer.
But for sure. I'm really enjoying, he's passionate about it and he loves it. So I'm really enjoying that process with him. It's like, if he can kill a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, like,
heck yeah,
I'll do whatever I can to help him get that or achieve that. So I think last year other than coming to Ohio and some of the hunts in Pennsylvania, I might have hunted by myself last year 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
And most of it was with him.
So what's your plan for this season, Finn? Do you just like after school get to bounce out behind the house or?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Weekends or,
Are you guys going to take a week at some point, you think? Or
maybe we'll get Sundays at some point here.
That'd be nice.
Did that happen or I saw something about that recently?
It's going through, I think, the House now.
Yeah.
But it should pass. But then it's got to get put into law. So it won't be this year. It'll be next year.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I took 2 weeks off, the last week of October and the first week of November. So I took those 2 weeks back to back this year. And I could take another one early season if I wanted to.
Yeah, and what you guys did Missouri and at home?
Yep, last year. I used to go out west all the time, but with the kids and stuff, I just...
Yeah, is that something that you like is in the future at some point? Is it west, like a mule deer trip?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I wonder what the age, when that would be.
I think in
from a bow
Wyoming,
hunting standpoint.
from a bow hunting standpoint, I'm not sure.
Just
probably the
distance,
same.
you mean? Or just like capabilities?
Yeah, I guess just like, capability. I mean, I'm thinking like mule deer, I guess in my head, like what's as far as a spotting and stalking. Yeah, I mean, you could
Finn's
do
an
it.
athlete.
You could do it
He's
now,
got it.
right?
Yeah, and that's kind of why we did the
cross-country
Missouri
runner.
trip,
Yeah.
like experiencing like, okay, he's gone for 5-6 days from
Yep.
really any type of electronics, or not that he
Mhm.
uses them much because he doesn't, but like it's hunting. We're going to go hunting in the morning. We're going to go hunting in the evening. We're going to
Mhm.
get up and go hunting like 5-6 days straight of that. How's he going to handle that versus
Yeah.
just,
That's a lot.
and he,
Did you like that this year in Missouri?
Yeah, that was a blast.
That's
It was so much fun.
You're
Yeah.
tired by the end, like ready for a break?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Instead, you had to go play hockey.
It wears on you.
No, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got, because we had the deer skull in the back of the truck, so I got to show all my friends, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
You
cool.
took it to hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do any of your friends on the hockey team do they bow hunt?
2 of them do.
Yeah.
Well, 3. Well, 3 on my last team did.
Yep.
I'm not sure about my new team.
Yeah, cool. Are those guys doing trips, or they just hunt around home, or?
My one friend, his name's Gunner. He did a trip with his dad a couple years ago, and
Cool.
it was like, I forget where they went. I think they went and hunted some public land in either Indiana or Ohio. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Right on. So would you want to go back to Missouri, or is there something else that you're like, ooh, that would be really cool to do?
I mean, I would love to go to Missouri, but I want to go to Iowa sometime.
To Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys been putting in for points yet?
No.
Come
we
on,
put
Dad.
in for Colorado,
Start on
Wyoming,
points.
Utah, like the
It's
out
not
of
too
state.
late this year, right?
I don't know. I put the kids. My kids have 2 points now.
Yeah,
Start getting the points.
we will. So I forget. Maybe it was one of the podcasts you guys did. The guy said he had an app to like remind him to put in for points or something like that. Like that's what I need, because I just like the times go by and then I'm like, oh, it's too late now.
I know.
And I forget to
Go
put in.
hunt or something. One of
Yeah.
those.
Well, or Dottie said he created one.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if it's still active or not.
Or if it was ever public, and it was just like
Well,
something
I
he
use
used.
Go Hunt and pay the yearly subscription to keep track of everything for my out of state stuff. But it's more for Western hunting than whitetail.
Is it?
like, for me? I like not the app, but for me, like I put in for Colorado, for Wyoming, Utah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just Kansas and Iowa.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you got to remember for?
I got
So-
a calendar invite in all my. I'll just invite you on my calendar
Yeah.
For your
Do it.
Western stuff?
for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I got them all in there.
It just reminds you.
Yep.
That's what I need, because, like I said, my life's so busy. I got so many irons in the fire with different things that I just forget. And then
You
next
got to
thing I
remind
know,
your dad if you want to go to Iowa.
You need
to put
points.
Yeah, you'll be freaking 18 by the time.
Yeah.
I mean, me
probably.
personally, I'd rather go to Kansas than Iowa, but
That's an easier one.
A
Guess
bucket.
what? You can
for
go to
me.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an easier one.
Things are, like I said, I switched my job. So I was in private practice for 15 years, and then now I work in the VA, and now I get paid leave. So things have changed now. So like this past year, I was just like saving up as much leave as I could to accumulate it. So now I have it. So now moving forward, now I can go on my trips and enjoy it a lot more.
Do you like hunting more? Do you like when your dad is like you when you're the main hunter, or would you want to go and just go along for a hunting trip with your dad?
I mean, I would love to be the one hunting.
You like hunting, yeah.
But it would still be fun, because I still remember, I remember it perfectly when I was younger. I used to watch my dad hunt out of like a big tower, and I used to play with like my little tractors, and he shot a doe. It was pretty cool. So I'd love to see watch him shoot like a really big buck. That would be just as fun as shooting it myself.
Yeah. Well, why don't you guys go to Kansas?
We can try.
You guys
How
will
many
get to the
points do you
point
need?
where you...
Oh, it's too late this year, right? We're past the draw.
yeah, but you'll go out on a trip, you'll shoot a buck early, and then you get to hunt with your dad, and you're like, pressure's off for you.
Yeah.
you're just the guide at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you're kind of doing it both. Like you guys are
Yeah.
both in the tree, so it's
Yeah,
you'll
that'll
work
make
out some
it
sort of a
fun.
system there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Kansas is more attainable. It's it doesn't take 5 years to draw.
0
Yeah.
or 1 point.
0 to 1 point.
And there's
for sure.
lots of public in Kansas and stuff too. I mean, dude, talk about an upgrade even from Missouri.
Yeah. And just the terrain out there. Like, I love the open country. I love that there's not a whole lot of trees. It's like kind of not spot and stock, but you can if you want.
Just a lot of observation.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I just love watching wildlife. I mean, I'll go out of my farm and just sit on the quad and glass fields.
Yep.
All evening.
That's coming soon, man.
This is my favorite time of the year. I was thinking about that on the way down. Like, come June, you start getting fired up for the entire season. So, like, from June to January, I just love it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's funny. I feel like in correlation to, like, you see hunting content getting posted and stuff. And I guess it makes sense just from a what's entertaining to watch type of a thing. But, dude, I have been, like, running with my head cut off ever since January. Just trying to, like, keep up with everything that I almost feel like we're farming at this point. I'm putting in, like,
Good.
20 plus acres of crops, across different stuff. And it's like coordinating all these different chemical places and drills. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah, you guys are straight up farming for sure.
Feels like it.
Like,
We're flipping whole thing. I'm putting like 7 acres of switchgrass at a time, 10 acres of soybeans at a time. I'm like, let's go.
on going back to our farm, you said, what are we planting? And I'm running just clover and like rye most on all the plots. One, for the doe groups to have their own space, right? Because I don't want them all flocking to whatever food plots good for them that time of the year. So I just plant them all in the same so that they all have their own space. But plus, it's easier for me. It's just broadcast and cut and spray if I need to. But just simple. And it's, again, my food plots aren't like, I'm not looking to feed them off my food plots. They're just staging areas until they go to the bait.
Right.
So,
well, dude, I'm getting ready to go nuts on some timber. That's kind of where my head is at here, like for the foreseeable, because it takes time. Like there's a procedure to it. In theory, in my head, I'm like, here's how it's going to go. But I've never actually executed this to the level that I want to, is especially where I'm at in Ohio and some of our stuff in Illinois. Invasives are first. So, I mean, it's multiflora in Ohio, and it's we have some of that in Illinois too, but there's a lot of bush honeysuckle as well. So it's that stuff that just stays green like forever, and the deer do eat it, and so they just like almost never come out of the woods. Like, we had a standing bean field last year in Illinois that they never came to, and it's just, I think, because they had food in the, elsewhere.
Yep.
But so it's going to start with the invasives. In fact, I'm taking Jed out for a trip. I'm going to apply for some of the equip stuff, which is like timber management. They'll help compensate you for managing invasives in your timber. So that's first. So, I mean, if I end up getting it funded, it's a full year. Like, we'd write the plan this summer. I'd get tentative approval, like towards the end of this year, or even like early next year. Probably wouldn't get funded until this time next year, like at the earliest. And then I could deploy. It's gonna take a crew of foresters, of not necessarily foresters, but of people to go in with backpack sprayers and treat all that stuff, and kill all the invasives out. And then the following year would be a burn, like, of leaf litter. So you're gonna have to put a brake all the way around, and plan out all your burns and stuff.
And you got to have the fuel. So it's tough.
And then immediately after the burn, I'm pushing for damn near, I mean, not clear cuts, but like all of your non-invasives. I want to go a heavy timber cut. So at the end of that, you should have a invasive free, cleared leaf litter, jungle of madness. You know what I mean? So I think I can almost double the holding power of some of the timber that I have there.
Yeah, I had Equip come and look at my property, and I was going to do the same thing with the invasives. And I just got overwhelmed with it. I was like, they're like, oh, we can just pay you to do it and all that, or you can pay us or whatever. And it wasn't going to cover everything, but I was going to do it. And then I asked a simple question. I was like, well, this is all great for the deer, but how long do you suspect these invasives to stay off of the property? And they said 3 years. And I was like, by the time I got it all cleaned up, it would be starting back already. Like there's so much of it. I don't think you can be clear of it.
Probably not.
It's just like a vicious cycle,
it's just seed
right?
transfer from birds and stuff, and what's existing in the soil. It's just, it's like even in Ohio, like a lot of those areas where they cut, I mean, it's good. You got greenbrier and blackberries and stuff like that, but you've got a lot of multiflora that, like, in the middle of the timber was like Where'd that come from?
Yeah. And not to interrupt, but like what I'll do is I'll go out and I'll just mark off a small section, and then I'll just go in and focus on that small section that year, and then I'll move to the next section.
Well,
so I just portion
it
it
ain't
out.
gonna be me. Like I'll help, but I've drank my fair share of glyphosate in my day. It's time for whatever that offset is gonna. And I mean, it's got to be a reasonable cost, But I the manpower is just what gets it done. You get a 5 or 8 guy crew, with a swath that can go through, as opposed to just me, on a backpack sprayer. I'm like, if that costs me, I don't know. I haven't really considered the cost yet, but
yeah, for sure. That's how you have to do it. I mean, the manpower is where it's at. I mean, that's why I just section it off, and with the kids or whatever, I'll go out. My biggest thing is just keeping the grapevine down. The grapevine are just horrible on my property, so it's going through and cutting it and keeping it from growing back.
Jeremy and I have kind of got it started here, so I reached out to somebody there's the Illinois DNR puts out a list of forestry contacts or whatever, and the one guy's Mike McLean or something like that. It's just like invasive, that's listed right on his description there. So I called him up and said, hey, Mike, we're in this county, and I got a 15-acre block that's full of multiflora. I'd love to get your eyes on it. Give me an estimate for what that would look like to take care of. And so he's going to head out and do that for us. So get the ball rolling at least,
Yeah. Like
if you never make those phone calls, like the things never happen. It's right. Like you can go seasons, and it's that easy. It's just a phone call to be like, hey, dude, here's a pin. Run out there and take a look when you get a chance, and just happen to somebody that does it.
I think the big thing is that we're always working towards improvement, right? Rather, it takes us longer than once. We're always doing something to the property to try to make it better, and it's like that long-term gain. Like, I'm never going to reap the benefits. His kids might reap the benefits, so.
Why not?
I mean, you can't short-term, but.
Oh, dude, stuff don't take that long.
Oh, I think it will.
I think it takes a long time for you to really
if you're going to change that actual woodlot, it's going to take, I mean, you can kill it and you can burn it and you can cut it open again, but it's invasive for a reason. That stuff is just, I mean, it's no different than like your fescue in your fields. Like, it's years of annihilating that.
No, it's just knowing how to do it. I could be gone with that in a year or two.
What's that?
If I knew what I was doing. The coal season stuff that we're dealing with?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I knew what I was doing.
Well, I think you're still going to just have to keep chemically treating it for quite a while.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, fair. But that is the prescription. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, dude, you can improve a property like 500%. I really believe in a matter of 2 or 3 years.
I've been there 7 years, and we've definitely made drastic improvements to it. But like, and maybe it's the area too. Like, you got to worry about like
definitely. That's definitely a big part of it.
I only have 45 acres, right? So ours is more strategy, long-term game, and manipulation, where these kids can go in and like they know it inside and out. I can be like, you need to set here, this bucket, this time will come through there. That's where I've seen my work really benefit. Not so much on the food side of things or the habitat side of things. It's more of really just
getting on them,
manipulating it to where I don't have to pressure it. We can sit back and wait for the right time to go in and kill them, and that's what we do. But
yeah, I think the property thing is it's the hardest, because you can make, I don't disagree. I think you can make huge improvements in a property, but if that area isn't conducive to producing good deer, like, you'll never produce good deer.
Yeah,
and I think
it has a ceiling for sure.
And that's where I'm at. It's like, okay, what am I willing to invest in this property?
Totally fair.
Financially.
Yeah.
When it's just not.
Yeah, where's the ceiling? You might already be at it.
Yeah, I might be. I mean, and I had a good friend look at it it's been around it a lot, and he came in and he's like, this property where it's at, like, Finn's gonna kill some really nice 3.5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, it's never gonna be, we'll get that 5-year-old every once in a while, but it's never gonna be.
That's the state in general, though.
Yeah.
That's most states in general, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Most people are, if they're killing 3-year-olds, they're probably in the upper echelon of the groups.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you still look at like the number, I know we see some of the stats like from Mississippi and stuff, but that's DMAP properties. Like, I would say that most states that have heavy hunting pressure, so Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, Michigan, Illinois, even, the majority of deer getting killed are 2 or 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
Buck wise.
Dude, my uncle killed. It's 20 years ago, and we just talked about. He caught me up on the story because we were at High Point the other day, and but it was about 20 years ago in like I'm not sure what county, but like outside of
Crawford.
Meadville. Yeah, maybe it's Crawford County. It is Crawford County for sure, and he killed a 159 or so inch. It was a 3-year-old more than likely, and it was the second or third biggest bow buck that had ever been killed in the county.
Doesn't
at the time.
surprise me.
And he was in the newspaper and everything.
Yeah.
It was like a big deal. He was like a local legend there for a minute. But
Yeah.
But even still, man, you look at that. Like my county in Kentucky, which doesn't kill a ton of deer, I think the best buck that's ever been turned in, right, is like 161.
Oh,
wow. Dude, what's going on with the, you sent me that thing this morning on Kentucky baiting that they opened up or something?
Freaking idiots, man. Dumb. They're just dumb, Finn. So basically, so they had the CWD surveillance zone, which, you know, is what it is. So they found it, they buffered counties. And so the first thing that they did in those counties, they said, you can't bait. Makes sense, right? CWD, can't bait, can't have it there. And I assume they found other samples positive in expanding counties. So they expanded the zone. They added a late September antlerless gun season, which whatever. I don't think that's really going to do anything. But then they said, I'll read it exactly what it says because it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It said, baiting is now allowed in all counties within the CWD surveillance zone, provided it is not distributed through contact feeders, such as troughs, funnels, or gravity feeders, without a spreading capability. This change overrides the previous baiting ban, aiming to give hunters more opportunities to harvest deer to reduce densities. It's like, dude, how many times do we have to say it? Like, baiting doesn't kill more deer.
Right.
It doesn't kill more deer. And so basically, if I have a broadcast spreader or I just dump it out on the ground,
You're fine.
I'm fine. But if I have it in a gravity feeder with tubes on it, it's illegal.
Right.
Morons. This is the dumbest thing ever.
So it was legal before, and then they shut it off for CWD, and then now they're just saying it's reopened.
It's legal with the asterisks of just it can't be in a trough or gravity. Which, if I think about it, like they're saying that because they don't want deer eating in the trough or gravity feeder, leaving that saliva there, and then a deer. What's the difference of it on the ground?
Right. No difference.
The rain gonna wash it away? No.
Interesting. I don't know, man. I don't.
And it could be to the any type of feeder. You can keep the feed under control, right? Like you can manage essentially how much is put out, so that they're not there for a long period of time. Like you got to keep eating them essentially.
Well,
so
and I mean
the
broadcast feeders are horrible for hoof rot.
Yeah,
like it just creates bacteria infested because it's just a mud pit. It's like a hog slop.
Yep.
You know, and if you don't move your feeders around, those deer will basically get hoof rot, and eventually that'll kill them.
The broadcast feeders are worse for that?
Yes.
Interesting. Why?
Because it spreads over an area, and then they're just constantly mudding, and it's usually not covered either or protected. So when that feed gets in there or corn, like you'll get mold that forms, and all of that bacteria ends up being on the ground there, versus enclosed in a trough or like in a gravity feeder.
So it's about keeping the feed dry.
Just as much as it is the area around it not being like a broadcast feeder is just going to cast a wider net than from an interaction standpoint.
Interesting.
Which is the whole point of them thinking like it's better than a gravity is like we'll spread them out.
It is. It's frustrating, man. Seeing some of this, like,
there's a ton of them.
It's all of them. It's just like we're sitting here like just. I think it's kind of common sense at this point, and then you see like just one state after the next. It's like who else just?
I've gotten like
was it
5
Michigan
of these
just
here.
opened it up for beta.
New York just opened up crossbows full season.
Crossbows,
that passed.
Yep,
it got through.
Yep,
with support of the National Deer Association. Yep. What those guys were thinking, I have no idea.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, money.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah. So that got passed. So now instead of New York having a limited crossbow season, wide open, and it's a $2 state, which is another thing. Nuts. Michigan has the baiting to be allowed, except you have to pay for a baiting license, and then you can only use like a 5-gallon bucket.
That's right.
Also stupid. Dumb. Somebody sent me one, and I haven't been able to get to it yet, but they said that Illinois just passed something to like reintroduce some sort of predator into the state. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it. But that was a big one, and it got passed as well. And it also sounds like the expanded gun season, everything's that's a done deal too. It's just like first of all, they just want to kill deer.
That's it.
They just want to kill deer. And then beyond that, it's like the opportunity yields opportunity. Like we want baiting because it's going to give more opportunity for people to No, it won't. It won't do that.
Well, all it's doing is reinforcing like the rich man hunting, like kind of where it's going thing.
Yeah.
It's just creating competition between people, and they're higher demand than ever before.
If they want to see more deer get killed, they need to start funding more processing.
Yeah,
that's
exactly it.
I'd kill more deer if I didn't have to take care of them all. Like I don't have the time. I got beef cows. I have the meat I need.
Yeah.
Like people don't need to kill deer for meat anymore. The majority of us. So if they want that, they need to be funding some type of incentives for people to open up processing.
That's exactly
it.
Don't just, okay, great. You opened up a 3-day season for early rifle to kill does in
What's
September.
wrong with that? You don't like that? Why?
People just won't do it because
why not?
Deer season's already open. I can kill a buck with a crossbow by that time.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
It overlaps in archery season with buck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So they won't do it. Why would they do it?
There's plenty of time to kill deer. That's not, they don't need to keep adding seasons.
Yeah, they
just don't seem to understand deer hunters is the problem. Like
that's exactly
they're like
is,
here, if we give them this is what they'll do, and then it's like no.
The misinformation anymore, and I even argue with this in Sumner's on his Missouri stuff is like with the advent of crossbows, this is not a crossbow attack, but with the advent of crossbows, there are less people who rely on gun seasons to kill deer. Mm-hmm. In Pennsylvania,
common sense.
It was nothing to hear 300 shots in opening morning. If I hear 3, it's because everybody's hunting during archery season with a crossbow. And so doing something like that early gun season does nothing because there's only a small fragment of people who even care about using it. They're like, dude, I'm sitting over a corn pile with a crossbow already. Like I already shot 4 does, whatever. Like it's not going to do anything. It won't change anything. It won't get the deal across. It won't do anything. And then they're mandating, which, to a point they should, but it's taking a lot of resources. They're mandating that any deer killed during the modern gun season has to be checked in at a physical location in those surveillance counties.
That's a new thing?
Yeah. I don't know if that's a new thing or not, but...
Why would they do that?
To CWD check. So if you kill a deer in any of those counties, you got to go to a mandatory check station to get it checked in.
Right. Interesting.
That's the law now.
I think you're going to see a lot of deer not getting checked in.
Absolutely. Now. Yeah, nobody's going to do that.
Nobody's going to do that.
Because it's just an extra step. It's an extra inconvenience. What if it's 70 degrees on opening day? Think guys are going to just line up in their trucks with the deer in the back? No.
That seems like...
Here's a question for you. How long do you think CWD's been around?
Probably at least 100 years.
Why now is it a concern?
I think more so at this point is just like some of these other diseases. It's for sure shifted into this area. Like I don't think necessarily that CWD personally was around in the whitetail range.
I'm not real knowledgeable on it because I just kind of refuse to follow the statistics and research because it never made sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to most people.
We hunted as kids, rifle hunted. There was never CWD around.
No.
I never saw deer sick.
No.
I still don't see deer sick very often.
Mm-hmm.
If ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, it's not CWD related. It's pneumonia or something like that in fawns. So, like, if you look at all the research and all the stats, like, CWD started to go up when they started testing for it more.
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course it's going to go up.
You
start testing more, you're going to find more. Like,
yeah.
I just don't understand why now it's such a big thing.
They don't know.
They don't have a clue. They don't know. It's always changing.
Yeah.
they want more deer killed, but they're worried about CWD. Like,
yeah, they're literally watching Wisconsin because it's the longest of like research tracking to see what happens next.
Yeah, I always thought it was the elk herd that they were more worried about, so that's why
probably.
They did it.
I mean, you know, the fact is that CWD has supposedly, right, because who knows what else is at bay, has had an effect on a lot of the mule deer populations out west. And that's where originally it was found in, you know, Colorado in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and supposed made the species jump from sheep.
Yep.
Right? So, was it in the whitetail range at that time? Maybe. Like, who knows? Right? But it definitely seems like it's doing that. Now, there's people in Bedford County right over here that after we talked to the game commissioner are like, you know, yeah, dude, we see deer dying left and right from CWD. Maybe. I don't hear anything about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Not saying it's not an issue. It's the inconsistencies among the states. Like that if CWD is an issue, it's an issue everywhere. But every state politically has a different manner of handling it, which is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about it. And, you know, but even if it is a concern, like the move that Kentucky just made is dog shit. Like that doesn't do anything. Like that's a complete cop-out to where you were going, I assume, from political pressures.
Yeah.
So
I just don't. I mean, they're trying to limit their contact through saliva, so that's why they don't want baiting or any of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they reintroduce it. Like, I don't think that's the answer. They're licking each other and rubbing on vines all the time. Like, they're still gonna communicate. Like, that's their nature. Like, you're maybe you're slowing it down a little bit, but the end game's the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's whether 100 years from now are there deer or they're not. And I don't know.
100 years ago, there were.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've talked to enough game agencies at this point to just, I feel they just don't understand hunters. They
I agree.
They think that, 2 + 2 will equal 4, and it doesn't. You know what I mean? They give hunters a certain access or a new legislation or something, hoping that it will do this, and like it almost never does. And it's like if they asked guys like us early on to be like, "Hey, here's what we're thinking. We're gonna reopen baiting in Kentucky because we want to kill more deer." We've talked to enough people to tell you like that won't happen.
No.
Yeah, it won't happen.
It's the same with tag allocation.
They're just gonna be more selective.
Pennsylvania. My buddies all the time say, "Oh yeah, I buy 6, 7 tags. Not that I'm going to fill them, but at least somebody else won't be."
Yeah,
like,
that's no different. I mean, it's opportunity doesn't yield opportunity. I think that the biggest kind of issues that are looking at it are, especially right now, is now that we've as like the deer hunting community have paid enough attention to CWD, so is the Farm Bureau. And the Farm Bureau is going to use that against us because they want them all dead. Mm-hmm. Don't care what they say. They want them all dead. And so now that you're saying that this is a problem and we need to reduce densities, well, guess what? They're going to ride that to the Senate and to the House, and they're going to get
true
bills
or not.
passed.
Yeah, it's a great political tool.
They're going to mow them down. They said it in Illinois. Like, they have no Farm Bureau politician has ever mentioned CWD being a big issue until the Farm Bureau said, "Hey, too many deer. They're doing too much crop damage. That's insurance out of our pockets. We need to kill more deer. Oh, by the way, if we kill more deer, we're also going to help the DNR control the deer population, which is what they want for CWD." You just walked right into their trap. Mm-hmm. Right into it. And so, yeah, I mean, those guys have big power in these states. Huge power. Way more power than we have as hunters, that's for sure. And so, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I know people, balked at it, but maybe it's not in the next 5 years, but in the next 20 years, there will be a hunting season, and you just use whatever you want, and you'll have a bag limit probably, maybe, and then you'll just hunt. There will be no bow season. You could use a bow, but you could also use an .6 if you want.
Yep, I agree.
That's it. It will be going to. It's already going that direction. People just fail to open their eyes.
Fast, man. It's crazy how much it's changed in like just even 5 years. Really, from an access standpoint, is where you feel it. It's just like there's not a hunter that you'd ask that hasn't lost access of some sort in the past 5 years, and it's because of increased competition for areas.
Yeah. Supposedly, there's less hunters, yet there's less places to hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, that like, if anything, that's the question that stumps most of these agencies, is that they just, it's like there's less hunters and we're 20% less than we were in the 90s, yet there's half the places that we could hunt at this point. And they'll turn it around and they'll blame it on hunting TV and media and chasing big bucks. But man, I can tell you just from reading like our comments, there's a lot of people who don't care at all about big bucks. They want to kill deer, period, and meat and whatever else.
There's a lot like that.
And so if that's the case, like, they're not really the ones that are causing an issue around access, because they just want to go out and kill something. They're not going to pay $5,000 to lease a property to go shoot a forkhorn and a doe.
Yeah.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Beast Broadhead.
Dude, Beast Broadheads. Man, we've been advocating for and shooting expandable, especially big expandable broadheads for years and years now. And it just seems like they just keep making them better and better. And ultimately, with the relationship we've forged with the Belmars this past year, we're just super excited to be shooting the Beast Broadheads this year.
I mean, this broadhead it's the world's sharpest expandable broadhead out there. It has best penetration, and it's got bone avoiding technology. Ultimately, we want to create the most trauma possible on a deer when we release an arrow. The Beast Broadhead does that for us every time.
So right now you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for a discount on anything on the Beast website. So definitely go check out beastbroadheads.com.
Well, the other thing that bothers me, it's like, you know, the fact that you can shoot deer and donate them, right, is awesome. There's lots of people that need it, low-income families that don't hunt or don't have the access to hunt, that will take a deer right away. You go to donate a deer, and you still, as the hunter, pay the processing fee. That's the stupidest thing in the world. Why isn't the Game Commission going to these processors and saying, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars. Anybody that brings a deer here, it's on us.
Yep.
And we'll get it donated to the right place. Like,
you know what? There'd be more processors, because I'd go back into business if I'm not just relying on guys like us.
We're going to give you $20,000 this year to process deer for anybody that brings one in that wants to donate it. I'd go shoot more deer just to donate them for a good cause, but I'm not going to spend $80 to get to donate it. Like, I'm just not going to do that.
No, and they'll say that they don't have the money, but there's $100 million in a game fund.
That's my point.
That could be used.
And our prices on tags just keep going up, but yet we're not getting anything in return.
No, and allocations aren't going to do it. You can't just say, well, they've been giving out more tags in Pittsburgh area forever, and like nobody's filling them.
No.
There's nowhere to hunt. You can't fill them. No. Like, yeah, it's impossible. So, yeah, I mean, they have to figure out there's a big disconnect there, and that's a problem. Like, they need to have somebody that is overseeing the decisions, or at least advising on the decision that is more in tune with the hunting community.
Yeah.
And you're never going to find the person who's in tune with everyone, because like we just said, there's guys who just care about going out and killing does and filling the freezers. There's guys who are going to shoot the first legal buck they see every time. And it's just because that's what they do, you know, whether it's for meat and because they want to say they killed a buck, but ultimately, you know, there has to be adults in the room to stand up and be like, hey, like, this is wrong. Like, this is what you're thinking is not going to work.
No.
And instead they just keep throwing the same new stuff out. Like, hey, this season, let's do this. Let's do this. I mean, I think Ohio has a good plan with these deer management permits, but number one, they expire in December, so you can't use them through the entire season. And then number two, there's still a county cap on the amount of deer you can kill. So like where our cabin is three deer total. So even if I was the only one hunting there and I killed a buck and I'm like, man, I need to kill 5 does off here, I can kill 2.
What's happening with these tags? What are they?
The deer management ones?
Yeah.
For Ohio.
Are those just the ones we bought last year instead of the doe tags that we're talking about?
Yep. So you've got a time limit on it, but like you're still capped by your county bag limit.
Yeah. And would you say they're over at the end of December?
December, yeah. It's right before, I think it's right after the second gun season, which is like mid-December.
Which, yeah, I mean, and you have a problem with those tags?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to kill more deer, why are you putting a limit on them?
I assume later in the season, are they antlerless?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're antlerless. I assume it's a not wanting to shoot antlerless bucks.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's because they want more people to kill does earlier.
Could be.
To get them off the ground.
No, I mean, I'm with you. That's plenty of time. I wouldn't necessarily advocate for a doe season that goes clear into the late season, like once they're shed bucks and stuff.
I mean, but there is.
I know.
It's already there.
Right, I know. I don't like it.
Yeah. They're not going to change it, but I mean, it's there. So, I mean, I think that you've got, if you're going to incentivize people to kill does, like, you can't have limitations on it. Like, why have a limit of 3 or 4 deer total in a county? You can only kill one buck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so what's the point?
I mean, do you think it matters, though? I mean, how many people do you think are maxing out their tag limit?
Not a lot. That's why I say I don't think it matters. Like, but if you're trying to manage your property, it matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would kill more in our specific county.
But you can't.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're 1%, we're maxing out our tags, right?
Well, but according to
Most
them,
people don't.
more people should be maxing out their tags
How so? What do you mean?
because they have too many deer in the state.
Oh, well, they would like for more people to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but they're not for the other reasons that we were talking earlier. So, I mean, I don't, yeah, there's a ceiling there that's unnecessary, but they're also not hitting it. So,
So yeah, I mean, I just think that it's not, and again, I assume that there are some people within these agencies that are advising correctly. They're just, the political side of it is snuffing it all out.
I literally think if you got rid of baiting, you'd just kill more deer. I think people would be less selective.
They are adamant that is wrong.
Look at the other states that have implemented baiting after the fact. It proves that that's correct, or it proves at least that the opposite is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that? Who was that recently?
Mississippi.
Mississippi implemented baiting, and it said their harvest was unchanged.
Yeah, unchanged. Yeah, if anything, they're probably more selective.
What I can guarantee that it did was reduce access.
Yep.
Because I think more people will occupy more ground to hunt the same quality of deer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a bad system when you get into that, but
It's every state.
I
too.
mean, but if I play the devil's advocate on the other side, they aren't wrong to a point. There are a lot of hunters who couldn't kill a deer if they didn't have a corn pile in front of them.
I mean, with a gun?
Huh?
With a gun?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Everybody that's sitting on a 2 to 5 acre property.
Sorry.
There's no there's no deer there. Right? The only reason the deer are on a 2 acre property is because you have a big bait pile.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about there's a lot of variables that change when you get rid of that thing.
And I would say that there's a lot of hunters who are on 2 to 5 acres killing deer right now because of bait piles.
There's definitely some unknowns. You know, I mean, I'm not claiming to know every exact thing that would happen if, when you implement that. It's just it's been in place for so long. I think I understand the dynamic of hunters and a good portion of what would happen there, but till you do it, it's hard to say.
Yeah, and I would have bet money a year ago that Kentucky, by changing their regulations to ban baiting from March 1st to July 31st, was on their way to banning baiting, and then that comes out.
Yeah.
And now we're further from it than we've ever been.
Yeah. Well, at some point, yeah, it's like and this is where the rich man mentality comes from, or the reality sets in, is like, if you can't beat them, join them type of thing. So like, I'm buying giant feeders. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to sit around and just allow for the welfare program to continually take off of what I'm investing into. So I'm gonna, what I mean, not that it'll stop it completely, but I'm gonna just implement a feeding program on my place here and try to keep them as far away from neighboring property lines as I can.
Yeah, it comes with a cost though.
Absolutely.
Substantial cost.
And that is the rich man. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. So he with who has the largest corn pile and the most cell cameras, wins, or can buy the most land. Mm-hmm. That's what that drives. It's exactly, we just talked it out right there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the richest man either. So eventually somebody's going to beat me.
Yeah.
Beat me at it, but.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
with
a
all
nasty
that, deer
spot.
numbers come down.
Huh?
And with all that, deer numbers come down because people don't have access.
No, they go up. They go up. That's what happens is like,
yeah. Like I'm saying the game commission wants more deer killed, but
they can't control it because they have less control over these private properties. Yeah. Cause guys want to kill big bucks. Guys with money want to kill big bucks. You know, generally speaking about like the deer areas, you know, not necessarily like in Pennsylvania and stuff, but, or even parts of Ohio, but the more into the Midwest you get, where recreational properties are driving market values, that's what's happening. You have guys occupying large swaths of land, holding out, not killing a lot of deer. They're just waiting for the 5-year-old buck. And meanwhile, everything else walks, you know, or maybe they shoot 2 or 3 does.
There's nobody putting in a ton of money to just kill deer.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So
that's what I'm saying. No average Joe's going to lease a property for $5,000 to kill 4 corn and a doe.
No.
No.
But they think baiting's going to help them.
And on his 2 acres right now behind his house, he can kill one with bait. He can't.
I sympathize with that situation. I'm not like wanting to displace people who are hunting over corn piles on smaller tracts. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that or that it's unethical or anything like that. And I don't like that those people may be without a place to go in the short term, you know, but I do think that it's cancerous to the overall dynamic in the long run.
I don't think you'd have as many people leasing up and running outfits like in Ohio.
For sure.
If you eliminated baiting, you know?
No, not
there's so there'd be more opportunity for people to hunt.
Absolutely. They
so
couldn't
more deer
monitor
would get
that
shot.
much property. Because even with cell cams, like what are you going to do? Put it on a scrape or put it on a food plot? Like great, but like a corn pile is what is giving you intel every day on a bunch of different properties. They won't monitor those nearly as hard if they didn't have them.
Yep. And I think in this place, you have more people willing to hunt more diversity of seasons and shoot a wider swaths of deer. If places like that are opened up, if an outfitter's like, well, I can, you know, I mean, there's, you know, I'll free up this 3,000 acres or whatever. It's like that's now their, it's hard to say exactly what is like if that gets bought by another individual and if, you know what I mean, to keep it out of the hands of something. But like the theory would be that it's opened up over the long term to more people, either via permission or
if the game commission wants more deer shot, they need to eliminate baiting and eliminate trail cameras.
I agree,
and more deer will get shot.
Well, and it's technology in general. The things that allow us to be hyper selective about older age classes of bucks is what keeps larger numbers of deer from getting killed.
Yep.
It's a pretty direct correlation, and they don't get it. They literally think it's the more they can give us, the more deer will kill. And that obviously has not worked for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
I do think,
and this is coming from people that want to kill big deer. Like,
yeah.
But we're open-minded enough to realize.
Well, we just know what it was like before we had those things. Like before there was baiting and cell cameras. Like, I mean, you know, I'd go out and if a doe came by and I wasn't seeing any bucks, I shot the doe because I didn't even know what the hell was out there.
I mean, simple things like this. If the deer, if Pennsylvania Game Commission wants more deer shot, they open up gun season on Monday, where everybody has off and everybody can go to camp Saturday, Sunday, all the guys, and they can have that camaraderie.
Yep.
Since they start opening it on Saturday, like I guarantee the gun number hunters went down big time.
Why?
Because of camaraderie. Like I have so many buddies that said, I used to love going up to camp, would hang out Saturday, Sunday, would hunt Monday.
They weren't like a dedicated deer hunters, but the camaraderie of deer camp would get them into the woods.
And that's
gone away now that they can hunt that first Saturday.
Well, now Saturday, they don't get off Monday, so they have to go to work Monday.
They don't get off Monday.
And they don't get to hang out with their buddies Saturday and Sunday and get away from the wives.
Thanksgiving, which most people are traveling for family and stuff, so you get back Friday. Like, I don't get back from Kentucky till Saturday. I miss the opening day every day now.
Yep.
Every year.
Where before, that camaraderie got to camps. All the deer camps were huge. And a lot more deer got shot on Monday morning. That's why you heard a lot of shooting Monday.
There's a lot of people pushing for it to come back.
Just open it up on Monday. Don't open it on Saturday. It's that simple. Like,
well, I could see them changing it if they open up Sunday.
Yeah.
Because they'll open it up on a Monday, then you'll have a Saturday, Sunday, and a Saturday, Sunday in the season.
But opening day, the numbers would go.
Yep.
There's other factors at play too. I mean, I agree with the dynamic there, but you also have, Jeremy said earlier, a lot of the guys are maybe tagged out from crossbow season earlier, where they've been doing a lot of their hunting. There's also just like as a society, like we just don't have that as much. You know what I mean? You don't have a large percentage of kids getting pulled out of school and guys taking and doing the deer camp thing. It's just for whatever reason those kind of eroded. And for all the above, and industry is responsible for driving the big buck craze, and we have all this technology now and stuff on it too. It's just it's isolated us, to be doing our own thing now more so than the camps that existed before.
Yeah.
But for sure, I mean, I think when that dynamic changes with the Monday thing, maybe that's kicks the chair out.
It helped. It helped for sure.
I think the Sunday hunting in Pennsylvania will also take a lot of pressure off of Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, New York from non-resident Pennsylvania guys. They won't go to those states as much.
Oh, no doubt.
Because they have Sunday to hunt. Right now, like most of those guys won't hunt Pennsylvania. They'd rather go to Ohio and hunt because, well, one, they can bait, and then two, they have Saturday and Sunday to hunt.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is interesting, man. Definitely the perception here in Western Pennsylvania is just that, like, the minute you get across the line in Ohio, it's like the bucks are way bigger.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how true that is, if that's a reality, and if so, why?
I mean, I don't think it's like a complete reality. I mean, first of all, there's some big deer around here. I think that it's terrain based. They're more visible as soon as you get into Ohio, just because of the way that the property's set up and farms and stuff. Like you have it in some of those cases, but like if you go down like this area in Washington, and like you don't hardly ever see deer out in the field because there are no fields, it's woods. I think there's a substantially lower number of hunters in Ohio than Pennsylvania, which is a huge part of it.
That's true.
Getting them through the age classes and stuff. That's probably the biggest stuff. And you can use corn pile so they're more visible on the camera. Right.
Well, and that's what makes me curious. Is that just the perception? Because we're able to dump a corn pile and get pictures of them? That we're like, hey, there's bigger bucks here?
No, I would say that there are simply because of the hunting pressure.
The hunting pressure, definitely a factor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's half of Pennsylvania.
Right.
So I think that's probably the biggest. Now, that said, like when you get into like how the parcels are hunted in Ohio, I mean, every freaking parcel in Ohio is hunted right now.
Sure.
Like there are very few that are not. And there's no public land or hardly any.
Yeah. It is bizarre. It's really wild I mean, dude, I was talking to my uncle just the other day, and he was talking about that when he killed 20 years ago. I asked him, I was like, was that like a permission piece that you had? And he's like, I don't even know. He's like, it wasn't even a thing. Like, it was just woods, and it wasn't posted. Like, he's like, there was like, well, you'd see one or two properties were posted or whatever, but like in general, like nobody asked permission. Like it was a piece of woods and you just hunted it.
I think back then, if it was posted, it was like, oh, they don't want you on there. And a lot of people just never posted their property. And it was just basically like, if it wasn't posted, you could hunt it. Or now it's like, just because it's not posted doesn't mean they want you on it.
Yeah. Know? Well, to where now you just assume every piece is occupied.
Private.
And for the most part, they are. You know, you go and knock and they're like, oh, we hunt it. You know,
yeah, somebody's on it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's changed a lot. I mean, there was a lot of ground that was owned by like strip mine companies and stuff and timber companies that, you know, was just, you just hunted. And now most of that's sold back to private ownership and stuff. So it's posted.
Or it's leased. They lease it. They run leasing programs.
Yeah, so like all the CNX and stuff down here, like they have a lot of ground, a ton of ground. And they have a hunting lease program. And it's all leased.
I think, and people are more sue happy now. You know, they don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely a liability thing.
Yeah.
Can't blame them.
No.
Yeah.
You didn't give somebody permission, but they stumbled into your property and got hurt. And
does it seem like we're kind of on the other side of that? Like, for a while there, you heard about a lot of like, oh, McDonald's lawsuit or, you know, and this and that. Nah, you don't hear about as much individual stuff happening anymore.
It still is. You just don't hear about it.
Yeah, it's not new.
Yeah, I mean, there's liabilities with all of it. Like, I'm sure even in chiropractor, like you freaking crack somebody's back and paralyze them.
Doesn't happen, but I mean, it can, I guess.
That's your liability, right?
Yeah, informed consent, you know. You got to get informed consent, so.
Is that what you are? You're a chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
I talked about my sciatica. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It happens to me a lot, dude. My lower back gets like tweaked, and it always has to do with my hip flexor.
Yeah. We'll check you out.
You work on me?
Yeah. Put you on the table.
Clear the table here?
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. So, no, it's a cool job, though. I'm in the VA, so I treat veterans every day, and it's very rewarding, you know, very rewarding. So, now I see it all. Crazy stuff, but.
Well, we got some trips. So you guys are going to come to Ohio.
I can't wait.
We'll coordinate that.
Can't wait. I just got to figure out when I'm going to actually come.
Camp might look a lot different when you get there. We got 3 bedrooms built.
You had studs up on the one. Did you finish it?
I've got them insulated, and I've got barnwood walls going up. So yeah, so they're coming along.
Be fun.
Maybe I'll get flooring in by then. Probably not. But
it's good the way it is.
I know.
What's your dad doing? I thought you put him on that.
He is. That's why I was talking to him yesterday. We're gonna try to get down and work.
Have you even made it to camp yet?
Nope, never been down there.
Yeah.
Gotta come.
Yeah.
Check it out.
The old cinder block.
It's wild, man, how like even as intentional as we could be about it, it's just like it's hard to do it. It just is. It's like I got Jeremy out to my farm last week, and it was just like
that's because we were already out there.
Because we happened to be just half an hour from there, so we've made it happen.
Well, even like our alignment for shed season, eventually I was like, dude, you and Finn go, have fun. Like I can't get there.
Yeah, we tried to make it happen a couple weekends, and either I couldn't do it or he couldn't do it, and then we just went. But that's the biggest thing is coordinating schedules, and like at this point in my life, like something really has to be important for me to make time for it, like for myself, right? Because we're too busy as fathers. At least Jeremy and I, taking care of our family and like making that our priority. Like if I'm going to do something or take time off of work to do something, like it's important to me, right? So you just like, and there's things like that. Like, yeah, we'll get there sometime, but like it's just not.
Yeah, typically like for Ohio at least, because it's 3 hours from here. Like I would look at my schedule for like tomorrow and be like, weather looks good, I'm gonna spray, and I'll leave at 6 a.m. and I'll get back at 7 or 8 p.m. Yeah, and that's the trip. Like, and it's just
it has. Yeah,
I just block it out, and then I don't have to give up the weekend with the kids and Emily.
Yep.
So I'm home. So yeah, that's the jam it in when you can get jammed in. Or like next week, I'm going to meet them in Kentucky. So on the way down, I'll bring all my stuff so I can spray the farms down there while I'm down there.
Yeah. And I didn't mean that you weren't making it a priority. I'm just saying, like,
no, he's definitely making it a priority.
It's hard. It's hard. Stuff? No, to make it to camp.
Well, no, we haven't really because it's what is the? I mean,
yeah,
it's like we want to go.
I mean, I called you when I killed that buck, and you're like, "I'm coming," and I was like, "Dude, you're far."
Yeah,
it was like we end up looking. It was like 4 hours.
Yeah, it was way further.
And it
would
was
have been
hot.
like 1 o'clock by the time I got there.
Yeah, it was hot too.
I think it's
4.5 for you.
4.5 for us, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's 3 hours from here. Yeah, you pretty much go right through here.
Yeah, there's just always stuff that like I think like we're in agreement. Like just takes priority. It's like, well, we need to like you and I need to be together. The fact that we get out to Illinois 2-3 times like during the like quote unquote off season, and then during the season,
it's a coordinated effort.
We make a lot happen with you having kids and us having multiple businesses and stuff. But it's
that stuff.
It's coordinated effort. Yeah, and typically it's like, especially in the off season, it's like if I'm doing something on the farm, you probably will be doing something on the farm. So like you're, you're just kind of dividing and conquering. And then when the season hits, it's like if I'm hunting a cold front, so are you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
well, it was fun to show it off to you though. Like last weekend, I got you out there, and dude, my stuff's looking awesome.
Yep.
Just because.
We'll all be there for
I'm excited for that. That's why I was like,
for the road show.
I told my wife, I was like,
oh yeah,
we're leaving the beach early. She's like, why? And I told her, she's like, oh yeah, go, because she knows how important it is.
It'll be fun.
That stuff, I love it.
That'll be a good atmosphere for sure out there. Yeah, but yeah, so it's just
Wait,
priorities.
Am I coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
yeah.
Unless you want to stay at the beach.
No.
We're gonna be there all week, so we'll leave Friday and then drive straight through.
Yeah.
Get home and go to it.
Yep.
So
no, it'll be fun. But yeah, it is the priority aspect of things. It's kind of like it ends up being random. Like some of these things are weather event stuff, but like I meant to go and put the fence up because that whole bottom's beans. Never got there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it looks like. He went, a couple weeks ago and they looked awesome.
Is that the picture you sent me?
Mm-hmm. But like they could be gone at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Beans are tough, and the way they're hitting that clover up top.
You would think that they'd mow them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Last year they did because of the drought. And there was nothing up on top. But I don't know. We've had enough rain. I mean, that's pure growing conditions down in that bottom right now. In fact, we probably have too much rain in some of those spots. But Yeah, I don't know what it looks like.
It is funny to consider like the lengths that we'll go to. Like, it's not like a measurable thing, but like there have been times where I'm like, am I nuts for doing this? Like, am I,
Mm-hmm.
But to just consider, to compare, like, not that it's a contest, but like I wonder if would other people do this? It's like, am I the only one type of thing, or
Yeah.
But there's a borderline. I mean, it could be reckless too. I mean, I could walk away from responsibilities to my wife and stuff like that. And so, but there's definitely freedom that I have, like not having kids at this point. That it's like,
Yep.
And no offense, Finn, but you guys take a lot of time.
They do.
It's all right.
You know what I mean? So
They do.
You figure it out. Like anything that's important to you, figure it out, and you make, like, even as I get older, I still do crazy things to be able to go enjoy something that I love. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, coming to the farm for the Mobile Roadshow, like I'll probably drive 10 hours straight, get home, get up and drive 4.5 hours a different way just to be there.
that's pretty crazy.
I'm willing to do that because
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
Or drive down to Ohio through the night just to hunt one day. Like, is that crazy? Driving a total of 9 hours just to hunt one day?
Most people
Little
think
bit.
it is.
Yeah.
But it's like,
But for me, it's not,
seems
because
normal.
like
This is what you got to do.
that's what I got to do
'Cause
to get it.
If you didn't do it, you wouldn't go.
I do
Or-
love that
or-
about bow hunters. It's like we
Yeah.
don't have a choice. That's kind of how I feel. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I have to go. I have to do
Yeah,
it.
and I would
I'm
even
not
do
gonna
it
miss it.
if Lindsay's like, but Sunday we got to go to church. I want you to go to church with us.
Like, yeah,
I'll be there.
Mhm.
I'll do it. Just because that's what we do to do
That's
what
what
we
it is.
love. Like, and I think that's what drives success in this, in anything,
Mhm.
is how much you willing to sacrifice, not so much in time. Like, yeah, some guys sacrifice. They're out there every day, 365. I'm not that. Like, that's not my priority, but like my priorities are my kids, my job, my wife.
Yeah.
Those are all one. My hunting comes
Yeah.
second. So
Yeah.
you got to make extremes just to make those days happen for you. But
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Custom Gear.
Man, Jared, we are tree stand fanatics, and I think the one thing that we have learned over all these years is to kill big bucks, we got to be mobile. We've been hunting out of Lone Wolves for many years, the original Lone Wolf, and then obviously with the custom gear stuff, we were using the 0.5 and the 0.75. And the one thing that we talked about is like, what if there were no cables? Here we are.
I really just don't know how you can beat it, frankly. But, a lot of that came, too, from a relationship that we built with the DePustos. We've had both Cody and Andre on the podcast a few times. The passion for hunting, the outlook on the sport and stuff, I think is eye to eye with how we look at it. Everything that has gone into building this brand and to building these tree stands is something that we want to be a part of.
This is the 40th anniversary of these guys creating tree stands that have been critical to how we hunt whitetail deer today. If you look over the past, you'll see Andre's designs being implemented across so many stands over the years. Such a cool thing, but really has changed the way that we all hunt whitetail deer from above now.
Right now, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, to get 7% off anything on the entire website. Be the Lone Wolf.
There's definitely, I mean, you hear stories, especially some of like even the professional, guys that, they're, whether it's divorce or whatever, like they screwed up,
yeah,
because they just went and they just kept doing it because that's how they prioritized, and the rest of the life fell apart, behind the scenes.
yeah. I've always wanted to have a podcast with my wife, like to talk about, like, I think it would be great for you guys to get some women on here that
Everybody keeps asking when our wives are going to come on. I'm like,
that honestly know, like, because you guys are both great at it and how they deal with it. Because I think it could save a lot of relationships. Like, there are guys that just they get that switch and they can't shut it off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they get driven, and I think that's most men that are masculine and driven. Like,
yeah, we call
even
it, like,
for me,
the-
like, I get sidetracked on things. Like, I'm hyper focused on fly fishing right now. And he's on golf, and he's like the whole way here. He's like, Dad, I can't wait to golf again tomorrow. Like, we get driven by those things, and it's hard to shut them off. And you have to have a wife that's like, no, and keep you in line, essentially. Like, at least mine does.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, I've learned, like, I need to do this, and it's helped big time. But when we first got married, like, she knew I was in the woods every day.
Yeah.
And she was fine with it, but when we got married, things slowly, as we started having kids, it changed. Like,
Well, I think that's the levels of it. Like, obviously, like, Finn's at the age where, like, he can function, right?
Mhm.
Like, when you've got a newborn and a 2-year-old or 2-year-old and a 4-year-old at home, and like you're leaving the wife for 6 days to go hunt, that doesn't go over real well.
No.
You learn when to
it
find
starts out well, like go have fun, honey.
Yeah.
Great. But when you come back, it's going to be hell.
Yeah.
Like they're miserable.
Yeah. So there's just a period of life there that like evolves to where you're like, hey, like, you're going to push the bounds because, again, you got to do it.
Yeah.
But you're going to take it right to the limit, and then you're going to figure out how to pull back in. And then, eventually when they can function for themselves, like, sure, they still drive mom batshit crazy at home, but, like, they're going to live. They'll survive because they can function on their own.
Exactly. Yeah. I've always I can remember still hunting with a trad bell with him in diapers on my back in a backpack just so I could go and give her a break. He'd go with me and he'd carry on. And there's times I'm like, buddy, there's a deer. He'll whip around and start coughing, the deer runs off. Like,
you blew it.
It wasn't ideal, but like we make sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
Like, but look at him now though. If you put in your time into your kids, they grow up to be, and then it's less effort. Like he can sit here for a 3.5 hour podcast and not be complaining about it, or whatever. It's just putting your priorities where they need to be. It's important.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I think a lot of people just with how life is, it moves super fast, way faster than it probably should for all of us from a processing standpoint. But that's just the society that we live in, and to be able to figure out how to prioritize that right, and then capitalize on the times that you're like, hey, I gotta go do this. You'll figure it out. You'll learn the hard way on some, and
I used to hunt so hard too, and now I just hunt smarter.
I think that's the key.
I don't have to be in the woods every day. I'm just waiting for that right opportunity. Just like that buck I killed this year, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna kill him
Today's
tonight.
time to go,
and I killed him.
Yeah,
but
flexibility kills deer, kills big bucks especially.
Yeah, 100%.
What would be the qualities in a wife that pair nicely, you think, with a bow hunter?
Faith.
Yeah.
I think faith in having a wife that is very, I wouldn't say Christian, but a big belief in God, fear-loving, woman, I guess you could say, is the best thing. Because like my wife specifically, I lucked out, but like she really strengthened my faith. And through that, like, you have your morals and standards, and she lets me be a man. Like I'm not the boss, but I'm the boss, right? Like I handle all the finances, I handle everything. She takes care of the kids and makes sure things are in order, and she tells me where to be. And I like that. Like I wanted a wife like that versus one that was wanting to be out there and be super successful in this world and make all this money. Like I didn't want that in a wife. I wanted a wife like, I'll work my ass off. I want to come home to dinner. And I'm not like that guy. Like I don't.
It's cold.
I don't expect every guy likes dinner. You don't have to apologize.
I don't.
He doesn't talk
no,
to
but
mom
like I don't.
That,
you can ask Finn. Like I don't expect anything. Half the time I don't even eat, or if the laundry's not done, like I could care less. But
so you're saying she doesn't cook it?
Oh, she does. She can cook. I guess
We're gonna get
in a roundabout way, I drive to that because that's how the way my wife is, and she knows that I need my time because I work so hard for the family.
Yeah.
So it's just respect, right? Like she respects me, she values me, she trusts me.
Does she need her time?
She does.
Yep.
Not as often as I do.
Yep.
Like she's not selfish enough with her time. But that's part of being a mom. Like she just wants to be with her kids. Like
sure.
My girls are at a horse camp this weekend and they're gone. So we have the whole weekend to ourselves and they're out doing horse things. And I think the girls, mom can't even be there. So she's just staying in an Airbnb and
just around.
Yeah. You know what I found interesting is like, just obviously generally speaking, like everybody's their own person here, but I find men and guys seem to be like, we're more objectively driven. Like we have an objective. I want to hunt. I want to, kill this buck or whatever I'm doing. I want to achieve X, Y, Z. And I think women are just generally more relationally based. And so they don't necessarily have like a thing. They're not like obsessed with hunting, or they're just like, I just want to spend time with you or with,
exactly,
with our family and stuff. And so it can be hard for a guy like me who's very objectively driven to understand. I'm like, what am I missing here? Like, is it okay? I have to go do this thing. And because she, like my wife, Margie, doesn't have like a thing, I wouldn't say. Like, I've tried to pinpoint, like, what is her thing and it's like, maybe there isn't one. Like, it's just, she's just relationally driven like most women, and they just want to spend time with you. Yeah. And that's hard to deal with sometimes, because I'm like, we get time.
We just spent time together.
We have all this time, like the whole year we've been together, but now it's the time to do this thing. So we try to find the balance to where we can do both.
Yeah, it's finding, my wife's very similar. Like, she looks forward to things we do as a family. Mm-hmm. So even if we just had a weekend at home, we don't have to necessarily do anything specific. But if we're just home for a weekend with the kids, going for a hike, like, at the end of the day, she's like, that's the best day of my life. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, all we did was not, like, we didn't do anything.
Nothing.
Yeah. Or, like, we like to go fishing, we like to hunt, and we include them some, but, like, she's just not into it. We went fishing at the farm pond the other day, and she didn't even want to go. And I drug her. I'm like, no, you're going. Like, get on the quad. You're coming with us. So we all went. She sat there and she was complaining. She was cold, wanted to go home, Like, she's just not into that stuff. But,
yeah.
I think the biggest thing, though, goes back to, like, just relationships in general. For a man to be happy, you got to have a woman has a strong faith. Like,
yeah,
really do.
Yeah.
Or that's where divorce starts. Like, they're, he was out hunting all week, he doesn't love me. Like,
yeah.
Relationships in general, Lindsay's and I's both, like, everyone's, it's constantly like this. And right now we're in our lives where we're really doing well with the kids and where we're at in life. But we went through a lot of ups and downs, but what kept us strong was our faith. And, that's it. Like,
yeah. No, I think that's a good one. I think a thing is an interesting one, like when you talk about Margie, because, like, I would say that, besides work, like, Emily didn't have a thing for a lot of our early marriage, even when we started having kids. But now, like, running is her thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool because, like, she knows, like, she could call me and say, hey, a Saturday morning, I'm gone for 6 hours running. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Because I know when I say, hey, I'm gone hunting, she says, okay. Like, we just have a mutually understanding of, like, that's her thing, this is my thing, and, like, I'll take care of the kids or they'll be fine doing stuff, and when she's doing hers, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And that for sure has changed our relationship a lot. Just because for her to have a thing like me, when we're together, it's like, it's cool because we're spending time, but when she's doing her thing or I'm doing my thing, it's like we know that that's making the other one happy.
Yeah. That is interesting. I could be wrong. I think that's fairly rare for women to have, like, a thing. Like, she's very driven in that aspect. I mean, obviously, to be doing, like, the ultra marathons and stuff that she's doing. I think that's way less common in women than it is in men.
Yeah, maybe.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just not from from a bias standpoint here,
sure.
But that's just, and it's not intentional that we don't have as many women on this podcast or that are bow hunters.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of, like, I think the nature of, there are more men who are objectively driven to do something like bow hunting than women. I mean, it's just how we're made.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
You know what I mean? But there are some women, like your wife, and I mean, there's a handful of, like, of women that are, like Melissa Bachman comes to mind. I mean, there's a handful of women that are, like, awesome hunters and are maybe more driven than I am to, like, get it done. So they're definitely out there, but there's fewer of them, I think.
Yeah, I think, and I would say that it's probably an either or, right? Because, like, she would, like, she has friends, but, like, she doesn't go and hang out with friends. Like, she's either at home. It is an either or. Yeah. She's either at home with us or she's running.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the same way, right? I'm either at home with them unless I'm working and, like, doing hunting related stuff. Like, those are black and white type of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would assume that if you're relationship based, right, then her thing is probably hanging out with people and friends, going out to dinner or whatever. I don't know. I don't do that, so I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, that is the thing. You know, that's where Margie's like an offset to me, is because she's like, well, we need to go spend time with our nieces and nephews. And I'm like, oh, okay. And what are we going to do?
Yeah.
That's the answer. And they're like, she's like, what do you, no, we're just going to go spend time with them. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
She sounds a lot like Lindsay. And when you agree,
Oh, she's
Finn,
great. I mean, it's,
Finn, like, mom's the same way. Like, she'll force us to go hang out with family and do like the right thing. Like, no, they're family. We need to go spend time with them. Like, that's what's important to her. And it's almost like they're like pleasers, right? Like she wants to make sure everybody else is happy, so to speak, I guess you could say, or her relationships are all in order, and then she's good. But if they're not, that's where she starts having an issue.
Yeah, she's got to work at stuff to fix it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, in that they're relationally driven. I think more so than we are, where I'm like, our relationships happen because of the thing we're doing. Like Jeremy and I are such good friends because we have a similar passion, and we've aligned, you know, all these in businesses. We have a lot of them that overlap. And I think because of that, we are good friends. It's not like, oh, I'm looking for a good friend.
Right.
And Jeremy was a good friend, and then we did all this stuff. So that's more what men do.
I joked 100%. About it with like even this past weekend. Like my parents were with my sister in Florida, and they came back, I don't know, Saturday sometime. And Emily was like, she's like, are we gonna go like see your dad for Father's Day? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, are we? And she's like,
you're like, I'm pretty sure that's your job.
She's like, we probably should. And I'm like, okay. I was like, should we just like bring him food or something? She's like, I don't know. I was like, all right, I'll call. And he was the same way. I'm like, hey, you want to like eat dinner or something on Father? He's like, yeah, if you want to. Like,
I mean, I guess. Yeah.
He's like, is that what we're gonna do? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Let me talk to mom.
Yeah. It's the same with us.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm avoiding it. It's just like it
doesn't come. Yeah.
It's not like.
We're not as intentional about relationships. That's just what it is.
100%.
Yeah, and
we don't make it a priority.
It's not great. Yeah, I mean that's where all of our wives probably help to offset us.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is more objectively driven. She definitely is.
Which is my style. Well, like I said, I mean, just because and part of it was like we lived away from family for so long. Like there was no family where we lived. Like even when we had both the boys, we lived in Missouri. The closest family was 8 hours away. Like there's nobody around us. So like we only had us, right? And then like we both worked a lot because she was still working at the time. Plus the kids, it's like there was no life outside the bubble basically.
Yeah.
You know, my thing was still hunting, right? I still had my objective thing, but for hers it was like it was work and us. Like that was it. So that was like the missing piece. But I think why she was driven is she traded work for running. So when she quit working for the States and she was like, I'm going to stay at home and be a mom, right? And make sure that the kids get off on the right foot. Then the kids get into school full time. And it's like, now what am I going to do? Because I'm driven. Mm-hmm. My purpose went from being a biologist for the state to being a really good at-home mom to now they're at school all day. So like, what do I do? It replaced with running.
Gotta have something. Yeah.
So it was just, what's the next, filler from a goal standpoint.
It is funny how we can like live in, such a tight relationship, but also have things that like my wife has no concept of some of the, like if I say I'm going to Kansas, like that's all she knows. She's like, he left. And I may be spending like years building relationships out there, or like maybe we bought a farm in Illinois type of thing, and she a big contributor to us financially being able to do that. But she's just like, I don't know, he has a farm in Illinois somewhere and he goes and does this thing. It's just funny how you can like have this whole
well, I mean, Emily's never been to the Ohio farm.
Wow, really?
Never once. Has no desire.
And neither of our wives have ever been to the Illinois farm.
Like she's in the Kentucky ones all the time because that's like our place.
I don't even know where Illinois is at.
Yeah.
But she's never been to the Ohio farm, and I don't think she really cares to, because she knows that that's like, it's a hunting farm. Like that's what it's there for. Yeah. It's not a enjoyment farm. Yeah.
Lindsay would be the same way.
Yeah.
It would be fun to integrate that at some point. It would be really hard to achieve, but if we could get, I don't know if your mom would be interested, but I know your dad would be. I think Emily would be. I know my at least my parents would be. It'd be fun to get us all out to the Illinois farm. Like if one day when Carl's gone and we have like some time to spend on the barns and cleaning out stuff, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do like a 3-4 day trip with everybody.
What are we gonna do?
Clean out the barns.
So he just pulled the relationship card on me. I'm like, what's the objective?
Clean out the barns.
Oh yeah,
that is the objective.
Yeah. Oh dude, my dad's already been talking about.
I know. My mom has been too. My mom's like stoked about it. She's
about
like,
cleaning out barns.
Yeah, my parents love because they're like in their retirement age. They're empty nesters, so now they just are looking for projects.
Yep.
Like they're like we'll come out to Illinois, just help clean out the barns. My mom will be there longer than we will be, type of thing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's interesting when you, and I think you see, going back to like your deer camp thing, there were quite a bit of people who in every deer camp there were 2 or 3 guys who were the objective guys. They're like, deer camp starts on Friday, we do this Saturday, we do this, we watch Steelers on Sunday, and Monday we go kill deer. And then there were 10 guys who were just there for the relationship. Like the objective wasn't, they didn't even know where they were going to hunt. They didn't even know if their gun was sighted in.
Yeah.
But they were just there because of the relationship.
Not that those guys are not objectively driven. It's just there's
in the hunting side they weren't.
There's planners and then there's guys that show up.
Well, but in the hunting side they weren't objectively driven by any means.
Maybe not.
They were just there to
That's
be
fair.
at camp
That's fair.
for the relationship.
You're right.
Yeah.
You are right.
Yep.
And that exists.
Because there's
to this
other
day.
guys that I know that every year they were there to kill a buck and they were going to do it. They would figure it out.
Well, like I would say, even in your and I's dynamic, you're just as objectively driven as I am. But like I'm the one that's like, hey, here's the dates for Illinois. Here's when we're going.
Yeah.
It just happens that way for whatever, I don't know.
Planning wise.
Because I'm a OCD probably is why that is, and you allow for it to happen.
Yeah, because I would just look at my calendar, be like, meh, I don't have anything tomorrow. I'll just go.
And
But that's mainly because like a lot of the stuff, and it's just because I think it's how it's been, at least for owning properties, is like it's it's just me. So like I think the hardest part for me is being conducive to other people schedule, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like even like us like trying to go shed hunt, it was like, yeah, just go, man. Like I'll go Wednesday next week for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I grab them like 6 months in advance. I'll be like, hey, we're going to go plant brassicas this day. And I'll put it in our calendar.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
happen.
in the same situation. Like I have so many friends ask me to do things, and I feel like I ignore so many people now in my time of my life. Like they ask me to do things. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great.
There's just not enough time in the day, dude.
And then
We're all
it
that
comes
way. That's
and
just
it's
a
like,
priorities thing.
There's not enough time in the day.
yeah, there's just not. And it's like things that I do enjoy doing, but it's just like I said, making it a priority is difficult.
Well, that
anymore.
makes me feel good. Like when you agree and I know how busy both our schedules are, and we make the time to do it together. I'm like, this is really something that we're in the truck right now driving to Illinois, and like
we get a ton of stuff done.
We made it happen, and it's always productive when we do it. But
yeah, I mean that's
kind of a miracle.
That's the hardest part is like just, and I, and it's just because like I would say that I'm generally a people pleaser as well. Like I want to do things so that people are happy with it. So when somebody says, hey, like we should go do this, I'm like, yeah, man, just let me know. And then they let me know, and I'm like, how the hell do you have time to even do this right now? Like I'm just looking at like my day, and it's like doesn't exist. Same with text. Like I've got text messages and stuff on here where I know they're gonna want another reply, and I just haven't wrote them back yet. And it's not because I'm trying to be rude. It's just like it's going to take a reply. Like it's going to start a conversation that I don't have time to start right now.
Like, it happens to me all the time with previous patients that still want to be seen. And even my mom, like, frankly, like I feel bad. My dad as well. Like they'll message me and I know they'll probably listen to this and that's fine, but I'll reply. But I know if I reply, there's going to be another reply.
Yeah,
and then
there's
another reply. And I'm like, I don't have time. Like I don't have time to just talk about nothing. Like, what do we got to do? So that's why, like, my wife and I's relationship's so strong. She just tells me where to be, and I need that in my life because I'm so, I guess, responsibility with my job and taking care of people. Like in my career, all I do is listen to complaints all day and fix. Like, how do I fix? How do I fix? So when I'm off, like, I don't want to have to think about anything. Just tell me where I need to be. We'll do
I'll get there.
And that works well. So not that she tells me, bosses me around. She doesn't, but she's like,
you'd like
next weekend we have this plan, so do not plan anything. I'm like,
perfect.
Remind me Friday.
Yeah.
See, that's my problem and I'm still trying to figure out if she does tell me and I just don't listen. Is like, she'll claim that she told me things multiple times, but I do know that she's not a strong communicator. So I'm like, did that actually happen? Did you just like mention it one time? I'm like, because however you said it, it didn't like
it didn't register.
It didn't get to a place of priority where I'm like, oh, that's a thing that's actually happening. Well, and so things come up, and it's just like, oh, okay, I'll cancel my thing then, and we'll do that.
We went through the same situation, and my wife's like, she could live under a stone. She hates technology, doesn't like it. Where I love tech, so. I created like an Apple calendar. I'm like, if we have anything, just put it in this calendar. I won't miss it. Just share the calendar. She won't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, then you're going to have to remind me 5 times because all you have to do is put it in this calendar and I'll know.
Yeah.
Because I live and
die by it.
So it does get tough from time to time, but
especially
it gets better.
Kids,
like as you
we're figuring stuff and things like that, just all of those coming up. I mean, that consumes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. A lot of time.
Yeah. The girls, Lindsay handles for the most part. They're pretty easy. They're not real driven. Like Cora, my youngest is, but Maeve's just like my wife. She's happy-go-lucky with whatever. Just wants to spend time doing stuff. Like she loves to go fishing. Mm-hmm. It's not so much for fishing. It's just to be together.
Yeah, just to go out.
Where Cora is, she's a lot like him. She's driven.
It's really interesting, like that we're on that. It's like it's almost like a consumptive versus non-consumptive. Even, and this is not like a guys girls thing. Like people, family, whoever will be like, oh, we should go like on a hike, and me as a consumptive person or consumptive, or I don't know, there needs to be an objective to it for me. The objective can't just be we went on a nice hike. I want to go hike and kill something at the end of it. I want to come back with something.
Yeah.
Father's Day. Lindsay said, what do you want to do today? And I was like, I don't know. And I literally thought to myself, what would make her happy? Because like that's how my brain works now. And I'm like, she'd love to walk. So I built a cross like up on top of our, like the highest point on the property, a place where she could hike up to and spend time to that she never does unless we're with her, which is fine. But like, I know she loves it. It's there. Well, all her flower beds, there's giant boulders that I put in a huge pile at the bottom of the hill. And I was like, at some point, I'm going to make Finn carry all these up to that cross for a workout. And it's a steep hill. So she's like, what do you want to do on Father's Day? I was like, we're going to go for a hike up to the cross. She's like, oh, sweet. That'll be fun. I was like, yeah, but we're going to carry these rocks up there. So, but my objective was like, I'm trying to get my girls to be a little more comfortable with the uncomfortable. Like, so I'm like, girls, it's going to be tough, but I don't want to hear I I'll make a rock that you can carry, but I don't want you dropping it. If you drop it, you got to go back down to the bottom of the hill. It's like a mile, maybe half mile, the whole way up. I mean, I don't know what the elevation gain is, but it's pretty significant. Meaning you can't just run the hill. You're going to have to walk it.
Yeah.
For even me. So we all carried boulders the whole way up. And like what I'm getting at is there was an objective for me. Like I had to do more than just
hike
it. I'm like, what can I get from this? So the girls, like they did it. They experienced some toughness. They didn't complain at all. And on the way back, Maeve was like, that felt amazing. And I was like, awesome. Like, so there was an objective to my means. It wasn't just, we're just going to go for a hike.
Okay. Well, here's another one for you. I find this interesting. I feel like I am constantly like the physical stuff that I do. It's like I feel like I have to from a mental standpoint, because the minute that I don't, I feel like a cognitive decline, or like I'm not myself, or I'm like, just don't feel great. And so I've got this regimen of like, I have to just abuse myself to keep my mind straight, on a daily basis. And my wife is like the opposite. You know what I mean? She eats like a field, like she'll snack on like popcorn or like just candy. Hasn't been in a gym in years. I mean, I've been paying for this Planet Fitness membership forever. And she's just like as happy as can be. You know what I mean? It just seems to have nothing to do, like the things that I need to keep me regular, she does not need them at all. She needs the relational like fulfillment.
Yep. Lindsay's the same way. She hiked the Appalachian Trail. I'm like, she's like, you should come. I'm like, well, why? She's like, well, the hiking. I'm like, is it a race? Because I'm in for that. But like, I can't just go
hike.
Yeah. And he's the same way. He's so competitive. he'll find a game to play with his sisters, and it can't just be a game. It has to be super competitive for him. So they always fight because he turns it into, it could be skipping, and he'd be like, well, who's going to skip further? Like, it's always something.
Yeah, perfect.
Right?
That's how it should be. Bottle that up. Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting dynamic for sure, but you figure it out as you go.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people unfortunately fail at their marriages, is they're not willing to understand the other side and give and take type relationships.
Absolutely.
And they just they push and push and push, and eventually it breaks.
Yeah. Well, despite all those differences, it comes down to, I think, making them a priority. Like Margie knows, as much as I love to hunt, like I will drop what I'm doing or I will miss a season. I'll do whatever, to do what is needed, what she needs. So,
yeah, and I think that's what I meant by like faith is you're just, you follow God's law, and it's like, hey, we made this commitment to each other. We need to figure it out.
Yeah. You just love each other, and we prioritize, we value marriage, the bond of marriage. Yeah. It's really important to us.
Yeah. Which unfortunately is a bit of a lost soul at this point for a lot of the country.
Yeah. We see our friends all the time going through it, and it's like, it's hard for us to understand because like, I feel like the longer we're together, our love just continues to grow through all the hardship, right? Like,
yeah.
Are we the perfect couple? Absolutely not. She'll say that. We fight all the time, but it's like, there's always a care. We're not just like throwing it to the wayside. Like, let's figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's the uncomfortable side of things. Like, if you're okay with the uncomfortable, then you can get through those. But so many people just want to be comfortable, and so when things get uncomfortable, they won't even try. Yeah,
grass is greener on the other side.
They'll just let it run its course.
Yep, for sure.
Well, cool. Well, we appreciate you guys coming down and talking and
thanks for having us.
We got a good season ahead of us, hopefully.
Excited we didn't get a chance to talk about your trad bow stuff, but either of you gonna hunt with a trad bow this year?
I will.
I won't.
Yeah, I will.
One quick story on the way down, I told Finn I'm having another trad bow built for me.
You sent me a picture. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
I'm pretty stoked on it, and not that I'm going to hunt with it full time because I'm not, but I told Finn on the way down, I was like, I'm really excited about this trad bow, and he goes, why? He's like, I'll never go back.
No.
Do you ever talk to South Cox? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know South real well.
We're going to have him on here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, sweet.
I'm pretty excited about that one.
South's a good dude.
I don't really know a whole lot about, other than our conversations. I mean, I have a base understanding of trad bow hunting, but like it's more, I've just seen from some of his videos and stuff. I just like his attitude and his mentality towards the mountain and stuff.
He has a really cool story. You have to ask him about being attacked by a mountain lion. That was a pretty cool one, but and a bear. So like South has some history there.
He's been through some stuff.
Yeah, and on top of like his career in hunting and the films that he's done, and then building his company up. Yeah. So I have one of South's bows. Yeah. I gave it to my brother. He uses it, but
in the back of my mind, I'm like, it would be cool to do one of those at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, South.
We'll see how that relationship develops.
He's a solid guy for sure. He's been around for years, so I've known him for quite a few years. I think we were partnered at one point with the podcast years ago. I've had him on our
trad at some point. Maybe not for you'll do like what I do, which is like I'll hunt with the compound, and if I shoot one early, then it'll be like cool buckets filled.
Well, and that's what I told Finn. I was like, I'll probably maybe even hunt Pennsylvania with my trad, but just.
That's what I did all last year. Just carried it around. That's what I did in Illinois too.
The farm's getting pretty, set up. So I know where they're
what's the next step up?
Even the buck I killed this year, I shot him at 10 yards. And when I drew back, I was like, I could have smoked this deer with a recurve. It still felt great with the compound, but it didn't matter at that point because that was where I had him and how I had it set up. So. Yeah, looking forward to that. Steve Jewett's building me another Bushman, so it's a native. It's a long bow.
Nice.
Kind of just put it in his hands. I said, just make me something. I want to see what it turns out to. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, those long bows that's a different beast too.
I actually prefer a long bow over
a
recurve. Yeah. They're cool to carry in the woods too.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like there's something
I've got a Tolkien that is awesome. Like I carry that thing around and it feels like nothing. Like I feel like I'm stepping back in time with that thing.
Yeah, there's just something about carrying a trad bow through the woods that's the one thing with the compound. When I'm carrying that thing through the woods, I'm like, what am I doing with this big piece of metal, because I've done it for so many years with a recurve. But that's probably the most, like, just that feeling when you're walking through the woods with it. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
cool, man.
Well, stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys coming down, and we'll for sure keep everybody updated on the season kind of going, and hopefully see you and Finn putting down some deer this fall, and
hopefully
maybe we'll do a live from deer camp or something.
Start putting in for those Iowa tags.
That's it.
Yeah, you can get one of those.
That's it.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we appreciate everybody listening to episode 257, I think, if I recall correctly. HUNTR Podcast, and we'll catch y'all next week.
Later.
Take me